up, by the way. Howard Lutnick is on. Is he still on? Yeah, he's still on. He's with David Faber. That's not David Faber. What's that guy's name again? Do you know this guy's name? I forget his name. That's not David Faber. I forget his name, man. Yeah. He used to have his own show at 7 o'clock. I just forget the name of the dude. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, he's still on, guys, on CNBC. So more market commentary likely as we go on. Keep your eye on the volatility. It's been a great day today, both for small caps, large caps. There's only one Mag 7 name red. It goes by the name GOOGL, and it's barely red. I mean, it's about to go green in a second, so not a bad look for the market. We'll have to see if it continues to run. Wow. You got anything before we want to go?
Yeah, Bitcoin's continuing to climb high. I got faked out of it, but that's when, and yes, Alabama, Black Snake, I still own 75 to be exact of my long-term investment.
I love it. All right, guys, same bat time, same bat channel. I'll see everybody at the green screen. Big kahunas.
Welcome back. It's going to bug me who that dude is.
It's Brian Sullivan.
Yes, thank you, Katina, man.
Lutnick apparently is done now. It was Brian Sullivan. Well, I was just sort of saying, you guys were having that conversation about attitude. I would just be like to Joe, man, when you're in the West Indies, if you're not if someone identifies you as a tourist, or if you're perceived to be local, it's just going to be different. Island life is island life, man, and it's in the times that I've been identified as not a tourist, I've understood that. So I'm just saying, Joe. I'm just saying. Ben Fisher sent you guys the midday coffee. I don't know if you guys got to this, but we already got.
I'm with you.
We already got. Is this a super chat?
No one looks more Jamaican than Joe.
I'm not sure if I'm in the right chat, but this might be the old chat. But there was a midday coffee fund in there for these boys. But the market is now flying. Amazon has gone green finally. As it ramps to the upside, there was that bogus, somewhat, whatever you want to call it, story. I don't know if bogus is the right word. There was the report of them.
I think it was real, and then they just said they're not doing it.
Yeah, okay. So, the report's real.
And it wasn't on Amazon. It was on that website, Hall.
It was only like a small portion.
It's a new website. I haven't even heard of it, Hall.
I don't even know the website either.
Yeah,
well,
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall? Oh.
Do you know who that is?
Come on, son.
Okay, good.
Scott Hall's a legend. Well, was a legend. They used to probably.
I forget you're not Obi. Hey, yesterday I was talking. Obi's not even here today. Obi's not even here today, by the way, because I think he feels bad. He ain't never watched Scarface. He never watched Donnie Brasco. He never watched Goodfellas. He didn't know anything. Anything. The chat was going insane.
The Japanese restaurant scene in Donnie Brasco is.
You know what I want to rewatch? You know what I want to watch? Kill Bill. I want to watch that again. I thought about some Kill Bill.
You ever heard?
Action.
So there's
Uma Thurman. I don't think is.
There's a joke story. I don't know why this came up, but I just thought of this because I remember this story. Quentin Tarantino absolutely loved martial arts, right? So he was a big Michelle Yeoh fan.
Okay.
She was like ridiculous, like, you know, female martial artist.
Yeah, I know who she is.
So the joke is that she never actually got to work with Quentin, and she's like, well, you know, how come you guys did Kill Bill? How come you didn't cast me in Kill Bill?
Well, did she do the choreography or something?
Quentin Tarantino goes, because nobody would believe Uma Thurman could beat you up on camera.
Right, okay, wow.
Which,
I mean, if you ever watch that show, I mean, I don't believe much of that stuff is.
But what does that say about?
Believable.
What does that say about any of the other people that got cast?
Oh, well.
Like Lucy Liu.
Anyways, I just feel like that was a good movie after.
No, I love Kill Bill. Is a great movie.
I rewatched it.
But the last of the shorts are going to come out. Intel at VWAP. I'm watching Amazon because I'm not in the long here, and I do want to get a dip, but it hasn't dipped in like an hour. And PayPal is one of the last ones as well. I am in the wrong chat. Here, that's the wrong one. This is the current chat.
Yeah, Pool Shark.
Pool Shark's super chat. The one I showed was from
Pool Shark?
before. Shout out to you, Pool Shark. What up? Let's have some fun. The Bulls are definitely in there, but I should be back in Amazon off VWAP, and there's just no dips to be had. Tesla's breaking out. It's all breaking back out, apparently, as the market can't be beat.
Markets is huge again here. We're along the TQQs. We actually almost kind of got stopped out almost right there, and then it just continued to blast to the high side. We should have been reloading. I wasn't sure of it. We were actually trying to trade some Google, and we actually did quite well getting some money back here on Google from going long earlier on. And then I can't make this stuff up. Like, there's my stop. While we were there swimming, we had a couple of whatever, it doesn't matter amount of shares, but we made the very bottom there, only to come back, see my trade, you know, thinking it's up $1, and we got stopped out there and again, it's fine, 30-cent hit. You know, we were trying to hold for this. Same thing happened there. We got stopped out, but then we made it back, and now we're re-engaged in this short here against this high. and the 50-period moving average, to 200-period moving average on a 5-minute chart. So just trying to see if the market does make a move downside right here, but it doesn't look like it, man. Pool Shark, you nailed it, man. The bulls are in charge and in charge huge. So right now, there it goes. I mean, all we did was double, triple top, tap that bottom once, twice, thrice, and then upside, and there it goes. Up another 1%. I mean, I don't know. We always get asked, did you miss the bottom? This time I almost feel like saying yes. Like, I don't want to be, you know, okay, we're all clear now, this market's going to rip. I mean, we have a huge earnings week. 180 of the 500 companies reporting on the S&P 500 this week. So lots of stuff to happen right now. But like this market, just here, like bang, like this has been a huge day for trading one more time. A lot of different names dancing around. We got wicked out of that very bottom. And I keep saying wicked out, but they're not, stopped out. Right there of Apple before it makes a move, and now it's almost all the way back. Apple started tanking there through that 210. Now we're all the way back to 211.65 again. So yeah, just wild, some of the price movements here today and yesterday. Let's see if we get that ramp into the close, similarly to what we did yesterday. This is how yesterday looked, everybody, and it was just a straight upside there into the afternoon. So we'll see if that happens. Then a little bit of a pullback. That's right at 4 o'clock. There. So the imbalances, as Neil asked about the imbalances, that's actually at 353. So I wonder if it turned around, because we did have buy imbalances yesterday.
That's a huge reversal.
Yeah, you asked about that earlier. Remember, I was like, I don't know. I didn't see, because that's going to have to be a huge imbalance for Apple to do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like yesterday into the close, we had NVIDIA. You guys remember we had that NVIDIA imbalance, and there's that move to the high side. Look at NVIDIA yesterday afternoon, 106 to 109. The biggest mover. You're still over there, okay. Yesterday afternoon, well, I'm not the biggest. By the way, Palantir just came back in. Or, sorry, Google will take a little bit of profit. Palantir was the story of yesterday afternoon, I feel like. No dip buys at all, rode that 50 period all the way up. And it looks like if we get opportunities to buy, dip buy into the 50 period again, that may be a play for that. That's too bad about Google. Google's absolutely tanking now. I can't believe I'm calling this a tank, but let's get some more out. I'm just bidding some 07s. There it is. Nah, it's crazy because we're waiting at 59s to get more fills short, and it went to 51. That's too bad. I'm trying to be, what I've decided is I look over and I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing way too much money. And my prices aren't exact, which is why, you know, we are getting stopped out here. Like that's 159. The problem is I have too many shares. So I say, hey, if my play is going to be on VWAP, then I'm going to take that and then give it 20 cents off VWAP. But the problem is the stock doesn't know where VWAP is. It's just trading. And it came down to 159, stopped, and then blasted higher. I'm not supposed to be at 159. I'm supposed to be at 158.75. I'm supposed to be at 158.90. I'm not supposed to be there. Because when it runs the $1 mark and then blasts right back higher, I need not get stopped out. It should break a little more than that. So I didn't want to get short right here at 50. So I went to 59 just thinking that, hey, if we're going to get punched out anyways at 75, we'll take 15 cents or so worth of risk. But there's a nice move down there for Google. Maybe the market's just retracing a little bit. So we'll exit some of this position.
Or it's just relatively weak.
What is Google? Yeah, no, Google is, yeah, but the market...
The market didn't reverse.
No, but it just went down just a little bit, which was not that much, so I do agree. Google, I mean, this is why I'm short Google. Those of you asking why we're short Google, long the market is a long, and Google right now is still red on the day, and honestly, fighting with 160. I've talked about this 160 for a long time on Google, the over-under, like what Neil likes to say, and it's just, right now we're under. So we talked about 210 under Apple, 100 over under for NVIDIA. And right now, here we go for Google. So it's a nice little move down. I'm going to get out of another 5% here and see if we can hold this back to the 200 period. Maybe we get VWAP if it is a disaster of a close. So we'll wait to see. Big earnings on deck. Well, we will talk about that. But for right now,
what do the people want?
It's our favorite. Yeah, let's see what the people want to look at. Forget about us. Slap our face. Let's go back over there to the big screen
and see what Sharif's shoes are looking like.
Figure out what Sharif's shoes look like. Are they available, those other ones, by the way, or they're gone now? How come you haven't brought them in? Where are those shoes?
I'm not getting to bring them in. Sorry, Neil.
That's why I said it. Go back to us. All right.
I'm sorry, Neil. That's my bad. I actually remembered when I left the house, but I was just too lazy to walk back. He wants his restitution. He's going to get it. I promise tomorrow. Guys, all 4 major averages in the green, but welcome to the afternoon rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Make sure to like and subscribe the video. And in order for you to vote for these tickers, you got to be a subscriber, and you also have to be a subscriber to engage with Joe and I in the chat. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing, please and thank you. So here, the NQ, well off the lows, guys, up about 0.75 percentage point. Likewise with the SPY up 0.71. Underperforming though the Russell 2000. So good luck for small caps today as it's up about 0.4%. Up 0.9 is the Dow, the strongest of the 4 major averages. So keep an eye out on that. The first ticker, as decided by you guys, AMZN, just went negative again. Was momentarily green. This was the headline that we got this morning. Apparently, there was word that Amazon planned to display the cost of tariffs on certain products. The White House had a press conference this morning with Carolyn Levitt and Scott Bessent, and they called it a hostile political act. Later on, the Washington Post reporter Jeff Stein reported that Amazon, now saying it was never under consideration for the main Amazon website, says Amazon Hall has considered listing import price duties on certain products. If you're wondering what Amazon Hall is, it's their response to Shein and Temu style apps, guys, where they bring in products from China under that de minimis $880 level skirting tariffs.
Yeah, which I learned today.
Yep.
You know, maybe what's happening, see, what I think is actually happening is Shreve didn't actually own these shoes. They don't exist. And he was gonna buy a pair of knockoffs from China. And now it's all tariffed up.
Right, he was giving.
And he thought he was going to pull a fast.
You were getting
one.
those Temu Air Maxes or whatever.
Exactly, and so that's what's happened, and now they're all tariffed up. But you can't just rely on Amazon for everything.
Wow, Sharif.
I mean, you can, but you can't. So look, Amazon VWAP. It's a line in a chart, but it was respected a couple times here. So yeah, when that story turned, not bogus, but obviously not a big deal. It just did higher lows the whole way through. And it still got a bit of a bull flag on it. I get we're in a bit of a pullback, but I'm looking back here at 186.8 or the volume weighted average price to try to jump back into trend on Amazon. You also go to, like, look at the higher low and wedge that you're forming on the daily. If this can break like 191. Oh, and the best part, it just bounced off a death cross. So this death cross, yeah, that's right. Did a death cross. That's definitely an okay way to say it. It did a death cross and has since been just bouncing higher and consolidating higher. What that indicates to me is anybody that took the short on the death cross, if they're not already stopped out, well, they might above 191. So if we break a 191, maybe that's a tomorrow thing. I think you're good to go for today, looking at about 186.8, first step for a dip buy, and then the volume weighted average price. Only actually been, weirdly enough, only been long a couple times here on Amazon, despite the fact of how it started out. But there was no chasing that short once everyone was panicking in the pre-market.
You guys know in the pre-market I actually put a bid, and I told you guys I was doing that just in case we got filled down at 180 on Amazon in our own account. That did not fill. So look, as soon as that story was released, you can rewind the tape. 8:57, I was like, no, that's we got to buy this dip. And we didn't do it in the market here today, but we tried to do it in our own account. I just don't think that that's any reason. You know, that's not going to change the trajectory of Amazon. That's not going to change anything that they're doing. So that little move down, you know, well taken back up to the upside. I think that makes a lot of sense. So we'll wait to see. Still red against the market because we had such a paddle back. You know, like if we don't have that down 2% there, then I feel like Amazon would be up 2%. So it's just trying to battle back here from those lows, and it's done quite well to come all the way back up to the day's high. I'm not sure if today's the right day to go long this name because of where it's come from, but I definitely think tomorrow, and as we get into earnings season for Amazon, I feel like they're going to have a decent report, and they may not even guide. Like I'm not sure how strong a lot of these tech names will guide moving forward, or if they'll kind of sandbag the guide, and then we'll have to try to, you know, read through it. But again, I like Amazon. And what day do they report? There it is, Thursday, May 1st, after market. So we've got another day and a half or so of Amazon trading before that number hits. And you know, Google had a good one in as far as their cloud and some of their structuring there, and CapEx spend. So we'll have to wait to see if Amazon could do the same thing. Google also initiated, I don't know, it's a $70 billion buyback program again. So there's going to be something here for Amazon and their shareholders. So I like the stock. It's been really beat up. I think we get over $200 come Thursday morning. So that's their, or after market Thursday's a report. Friday morning, I think we see $200.
Or maybe you do, I don't know.
Or maybe tomorrow. To be honest with you, if this is up 5% tomorrow, then you're over $200.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see what happens. This market is so sensitive to anything news related, right? So no surprise it goes down. And then to me, no surprise it went right back up. Amazon's now green on the day.
For SoFi, giving back a lot of that earlier move, still green on the day, up 1.7. A couple of headlines. Obviously, they reported earnings better than expected Q1 financial results and raised their full year 2025 guidance. But they are also getting back into the crypto business, guys. They had kind of let that go back in 2023 under the former administration so they could get their bank charter. That was a restriction at the time. Now with the new administration, that is no longer the case. So crypto back at SoFi, good report.
So it was a good report, but I'm calling it a bad look for SoFi because it's like, how many times have we seen this story before? SoFi up on earnings, SoFi trending up in the pre-market on a good report, SoFi dipping and dipping and dipping. And they tried a couple times. Like, I don't like the first dip buy. I actually hate it. And then I tried trend reversals, those are better, but they didn't really work any better. Like even when it would start to go, it's like you're starting to scalp out, you're reloading, it breaks the low. Like you take another one, adding into it on the way up, takes them out, try reload, and it just keeps on breaking the low. So there was just never any follow through for SoFi. So I'm calling it a bad look. But as Sharif mentioned, the good news, despite the failure today, it'll be my worst stock, is, well, it's solidly above the 50-period moving average by a long shot. Like it's a dollar, like 7% above that 50 period at 12.5. And even if it were to go red today, it still has a decent chance of holding the $13 level psychologically. So it closed at 13.20. So I guess that's even more important. So it can have a bad day and still look all right. I think you got to wait this one out a couple of days here because that old patented, well, let's have a good report and dump on SoFi has not usually led to continuation to the upside. I need to see, I almost would rather it breaking out above 14 or giving you the dip off the 50 period as opposed to just getting trapped in the middle right now, which is where SoFi is. So I'm calling it a fail in the trade today, but it's more of a wait and see. The chart still looks very good. Nice wipeout bottom, back above both major moving averages. I just think the next buy point needs to settle down for a couple of days because when the market's booming, it's not like anybody was rushing to buy SoFi today.
Yeah, that's true. I was very surprised. I thought that SoFi was going to be a decent trade and it just turned out not to even give you a trade, really. I'm just getting some more out of the TQs at the high of the day right now for the NASDAQ. We're sort of double topped up here. So let's take a piece out or more pieces out. We don't have a huge one left, just under about 5% right now, but we've done really well to hold it and get back up. We were nervous, clearing out some right here, waiting for that high of the day, let it break, get up there, and now take some more out here on the TQs. Yeah, look, our idea, wherever, here it is, the sticky note today did have SoFi between 1350 and 1375. Well, early on, it just kept on bouncing right here off of 14. So we took the long 14, then we took the long right there before getting out. So we only wind up taking, that's 14, that's 14, sorry, that's 14.15. So on average, we are in about 14.8. And there's a drop through 13.90. So we'll take about a 20-cent hit or so on SoFi. And if we just had waited for our levels, it was 13.50. So we could have got away with it a little bit, but at the, didn't go anywhere. It only went up 20 pennies at most anyways. SoFi looks like it wants to go lower, man, honestly. Hitting the 200, going lower, hitting the VWAP, we're underneath, we're well underneath. Not a great earnings day for SoFi, giving it all back pretty much. I mean, if the NASDAQ, let's just say it was an earnings day and the NASDAQ was up 0.7, this wouldn't surprise me for SoFi to be up 1.6. So it's almost like it was a nothing burger of a report. But to Sharif's point, the report was great. So I don't know, the market's just getting to a downside here. And I think it's profit taking again. So give SoFi that 3-day rule. It might only be a 2-day rule. It does get heated. And when it does, it goes. So I still don't think this thing's cooled off. It's just taking a bit of a break. I like SoFi. I think this is a continuation play tomorrow. Look for us to be on this tomorrow for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if SoFi, I mean, again, the market's going to tell the story, but I wouldn't be surprised if SoFi can somehow, gather itself and then get a bit under it tomorrow. Today, just not the day. Day of earnings, tough to trade.
Next on the hopper here, guys, trading near the high day at about $555. Good look, up about 1%. Couple of headlines. This one came to us earlier. They report on it. Meta launching an AI app to obviously compete with ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, and others. But make sure to catch Meta's earnings with us tomorrow on the Market Recap Show. This one reporting, guys, after the bell, going to be very widely anticipated.
So you can bet Meta's going to be widely anticipated to hopefully report on time.
Haha.
Mark, because no one needs to be. No, we have. Look, don't get me wrong. Look, we had fun. It was we had fun in the aftermarket show, staying on till 4:45 that day, moaning and whining and complaining that who hit fail, who pressed that button. Oh, Ramin didn't have.
Ramin's
fun.
like nice.
Ramin didn't want to stick around. No, we did. I thought. Whatever.
You were having fun.
No, I thought we had a little bit of fun.
You and Adair were having fun.
Adair and I were digging on Mark, like how hard can it be to just report the numbers that you already know that are out there? Just get it out to us. But it's anticipated because I think when we talk about advertising, look, Google, I think made people feel a heck of a lot better with their report to a certain extent. But Meta's is bigger for the space, so I think I care a little bit more about what we see out of Meta when it comes to the advertising. So good luck, hopefully tomorrow for them. But today, resistance holds. Like it's 558 to 560 on Meta. Friday's high. You're not really, like you're trying to get into it. You're still failing underneath it. So I think there's the overhead resistance is winning as no one's buying it up through that 560 level on the 15. And that's where it's going to have to, that's what we got to break. I think you break that. I don't know if you want to call bottom in or whatever, but I think a break of that takes you to the 200 period and the resistance up there. That's the 587. I think it's a tough one to expect it to break out that level before earnings unless we have one of those 2-3% up days in the market, which it doesn't seem like we're getting right now. Just a quick update. VWAP, Intel, and PayPal's not even on the list. Short PayPal off of the local high up here. It never actually got to 68 today. So I traded VWAP, and then I've traded off of this high. I had a trend break that failed, and I'm just trading it off not the day high, but this lower high here at about 66.40. So a couple of shorts as the market's at the top. Meta I'm staying away from, but it's a stock that I am willing to buy higher even if I've missed the dip. Like I'd rather join what I think is a strong move above the major moving averages than have tried to guess that bottom. I wish I could tell you I bought twice in Meta this year, but I only got the one dip in, unfortunately.
All right, Meta, okay, so we just covered some more Google down here, close enough to O's. We just made that crack and then came back in. I'm just trying to update some of the positions because I'm getting lighter. I feel like we want to go long, so if I can start to empty out some of the clip down here, I feel like that's going to be a decent idea to do that. Ooh, President Trump says there's great support for tax deal right now. You want to pay less taxes there, Fabian? I think we all do at this point. But of course, we are here. And with the Liberals in charge, we may be paying more tax there, Sharif, sooner rather than later. It definitely ain't going down at all. Taxes go flat, immigration go up right there. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening with our new government right now. But okay, so Meta, yeah, I mean, one of the most highly anticipated earnings reports. We've seen it. It was up 3 or 4% off of Google's report alone. Google talked about ad spend still being relatively strong. That's great for Meta. That was the read through. They continue to build their large language model. I don't know. I don't use Llama or I don't use. You were talking about using the WhatsApp one when you're in the WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, when you're in Instagram. I think when you're in the app itself, then yeah, there's going to be benefits to that. And I think that for Meta, I think AI is more about directing the right traffic, showing you, like similarly to the algo that everybody loves. I'm not on TikTok, but the better algo there. So if Meta can use, AI to generate, better information, more relevant information to its end users, then I think that's how they can do that. We still haven't heard anything really about Oculus sales. They're working on the glasses. There's things happening over at Meta rather than just WhatsApp, Instagram, and what is Facebook right now. So, I like the stock. I think it continues to work. It's one of the more beat up names from its highs to where we are right now. And this is another very, very interesting time, because if you still like the stock, we had 22 straight days. Okay, so Trump is saying that he thinks they have a deal. Like, I don't know why he thinks they have a deal on tariffs with India. So that would be a very, very big catch for him. So we'll wait to see. I think that's a very great shoe to drop. The Indian market is huge. There's obviously Apple situations there, mass production and whatnot of various electronics. So I think that could be a good sign there if and when, we talked about how many deals that are apparently in the pipeline, hundreds of them. So we'll wait for that announcement. And the more I look at how the market's rebounded to all of this, I feel like maybe there is some sort of, and maybe this is just me, but maybe some blue skies ahead, considering we're now back to green on the month and we work our way through some understanding here of the tariffs. So, all right, Meta, not a big tariff name, so that's nice. Is Hims and Hers a tariff name?
It's dropping right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just needs the U.S. market, and we're going to find out the story right here. Then Neil and I will tell you what we think.
A collaboration with Novo Nordisk, guys, to sell some of these GLP-1s. Wegovy, Hims and Hers announcing that this morning. They'll also be selling Eli Lilly's version of the GLP-1, despite the fact that they're still continuing to sell the compounded version, much to the chagrin of Lilly. They're actually in court right now. So good look up, 23%. There was also this headline here from BofA Securities, maintaining the underperform rating on Hims and Hers, but raising that price target, guys, up to $26.
Yeah, no, I just want to say, because I was saying, when I say like Trump thinks he has a deal, I'm just repeating like what the guy's saying, like what we're hearing from that. So I don't know if there is some sort of a deal there, but yeah, you were looking at Hims. What do you think about that stock here?
Well, first of all, you're going to raise your price target to the place where everyone's been buying it. It's just like, okay, well, that's interesting. It's been barcoding at $26 where someone's been loading up on the stock for a while.
26.
Yeah, on the daily chart.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like, so that's your price target? Like, it already got pulled back like 60% to go into this level. Probably more than that now that I look at it. 2/3 it pulled back. But it's in breakout mode, breakout and squeeze mode, over 30% short float. It broke out this local $30.50 level. The problem was it was just in a downtrend all morning, and there's not much you can do. Like, it never really gave us any breakout trades at the open. It immediately failed first resistance at the open, lost VWAP, then trended underneath VWAP. So unless you were looking short, which we weren't, there was one shot. It finally got into like a trend break, like a 3-point. There it broke the trend, kind of take the consolidation and played into VWAP. And that's it. And it's losing VWAP again. So up 25%. It hasn't been remotely as strong as I would have hoped today. I think there was, to me, one good long trade, and it's not even really setting up another one yet. But maybe it's going to be a day 2, day 3 play. It's got a big enough short float that closing above the 50 period might start to spook some people if it hangs around here a little bit longer. So yeah, I think it had a shot to get like a mean revert. We'll have to wait and see if there's more continuation here for him. It's a long enough consolidation at that bottom that you'd like to think it's more than a one-day pop. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping we can look at some longs again tomorrow, maybe even this afternoon off if it gets back above the volume-weighted average price. Underneath it, I'm not that interested.
You know, that is a good point from Bizarre World. Like Lutnick and all these other guys saying the deal is done, we're just waiting for approval. What does that even mean? Like, then the deal's not done then. Like, you're waiting for approval. Deal done. Neil, me and you have a deal done. I'm just waiting for you to approve it.
You know what that reminds me of?
What, people in our pool?
That was exactly 100% what I was going to say. There's two dudes who share a team in our fantasy league. and there's the one guy who all he does is talk sports.
Right, and then I have to get it approved.
And he's constantly making offers. He's constantly engaging with everybody. And the second you get a deal, he's like, yo, I got to go back to my boy to see if the deal's approved. I'm like, so why are you the one talking the trades in the first place?
To me, I just think that means there really is no deal. I'll just try to smooth one over and get one in there, because I think Lutnick should be like, we are close to a deal pending approval. Like, when you say the word done.
Done.
Anyways, I think that's what causes this whipsaw, because then they asked Trump and he's like, India, we don't have no deal with India. And then whoops. Anyways, I hope there's a deal done ASAP. All right, so we both had the same ideas there going long in these mid-30s, but unfortunately they did come out real quick there. I mean, it was battling right here, right off the open. So we were pretty good. These are the, sorry, this is not even the open. It looked like it because there was volume. This is pre-market. So this is why I picked 36, 35. What did I write down on here? Yeah, 36. So, that was this level. That was that bottom right there. You didn't really even have a chance to support it. It came right in, fell right through 36, went right to 35. 35 looked like a jam. You would have got about $1.50 on it before it left it for dead again and started falling down to the downside. Now we've got this good bid there at $33. Look, GLP, and I know I hear Sharif and some of these guys, we're joking about how, going to the gym is obviously a better situation there long term, and that is true. Obviously, it's true. But I'm hoping that this is that wonder drug that helps people with addiction and then fights. So do I, yeah. So that's why I don't think this story is necessarily done. I mean, we get excited right now for what it means. And if it's going to be easily and more readily available to the public, I think that's a W. So for me, Hims, congratulations. I really think this stock could be a double or a triple from here, honestly. If this is what it is, their next quarter is probably going to be huge with all the orders and everything like that. A lot of people don't want to go in and see a physician. And we don't have this, right, we don't really have this kind of a program around here, I do not believe. But I think telehealth is definitely, we've seen stocks like T-Doc and whatnot. I don't even know if T-Doc still exists.
Yeah, it's still there. It's just,
is it? I used to own this name. I haven't heard about it in a while. But I like it. I like the fact that people right now are a little more cautious about, what they do and health-wise and all this kind of stuff as well. So yeah, I think Hims and Hers is a good story, and I think it continues. So congratulations to them for getting the FDA approval on that, and congratulations to shareholders up 25%. Hard to complain, even though it was up 40%. We'll wait for higher highs. I think tomorrow goes higher. So
I tend to agree.
That's Hims.
These guys won't. The next one.
Oh. All right, guys, WW International, or as we used to know it as Weight Watcher, shares are trading higher after the company announced pharmacy integration with Eli Lilly's Lilly Direct pharmacy provider, Gift Health. Likely one of those products, guys, you got to assume, given the nature of WW and what Eli Lilly is selling, is weight loss. So likely GLP-1s on their website as well.
So, no, I was jokingly sort of saying there, I don't think WW will necessarily be up on this. Look, it went from these guys are going under to now trying to break back out over $1. And as far as I'm concerned, it failed the dollar run today. Got to 98 cents, 200 periods up there. You're going to see a curl. So I like the long on it off of volume weighted average price today. It's worked several times today. I would venture it feels a little different this last one. You were still getting really good volume at the point when it was bouncing, but look how we've tapered off. You've made the dollar fail. I'm not completely sold on taking this one off the volume-weighted average price again. I really want Hims to be the one instead of this, but it's done $500 million in volume. So it is entirely possible it makes another run at this dollar trade. And if you get there a second time today, I think I'd take the break the second time. So before I was like, yeah, get out in front of $1. Well, if it can get there on volume, as long as it's not like literally 358 or something like that, then I think it can be a breakout through the buck. Just scalp it for a bit of a win. Pure squeeze type play here for WW. I'm not, I don't think anyone's rushing to own this thing at all. And part of their issue in the first place was the GLP crushing effectively their business to a certain degree. So yeah, I think you're getting a little bit of a squeeze relief rally here for WW. I'd be skeptical if it can, how much staying power it's got. But for now, it's okay.
Okay, good. Yeah. We talked about that WW International at 50 cents. So again, definitely like that stock. I'm just going to go over to Big Bear AI. I mean, Neil just talked all about it. So I feel that We don't need to do too much there about former Weight Watchers. So I said this yesterday. We had traded Big Bear AI. It's kind of at the same levels that we were at yesterday. It's not, although it's up 3%, it's still at that 360, 370 level. I don't really want to get excited about this until we break through $4. We got that 50 period is still edging down. I'd like to see us get a little bit more. I think after the next, I think it's about 4 or 5 more days, you should start to see this start to inch up here because we've had a decent run now. So as soon as that starts to curl up again, I do like Big Bear AI. I am buying. I do have a bid at $3. So if that ever one day does come back down, I do want to buy more of Big Bear AI. So this is going to be a play for me moving forward on Big Bear. But right now it's only up 3% and doesn't really have the juice to do anything. If the volumes get going on this name, let's try to pay attention because right now it is a beautiful spike up there today. I mean, it's not huge. It's just I like the momentum here, much more calm than where we were yesterday on Z's stock. So good move there for Big Bear AI. Let's just hope that it winds up holding the rest of the day. So that's it for the rundown. Thank you, everybody. You know, make sure that, as Sharif had mentioned there, you know, keep hitting that like, hitting the subscribe, because if in order to be a part of that rundown, and it's just a voting process, right? I mean, if enough of you vote for the futures, it'll be on there. If you vote for, you know, what at Costco, it's on there. So
it could be a small
involved.
capper too. Like you saw to see WW on there. Hey, it goes to show people are interested in that one. That there was that other penny stock that was going ham. DSM? No. DMN.
DMN, yeah, the Canadian one that we weren't sure what the heck it was.
Oh shoot, that's halted.
Halted.
What? Why is this halted? It's
Maybe
done
news
3
pending?
billion shares of volume.
Okay, so it's not a volume issue.
No, this is a complete. I had no idea this thing was halted. I didn't even look at my.
Man.
Yeah, I didn't even look at my halt scanner. So this must be like news pending or something. Oh, that's bad. The tap is 0.5 cent, so it's giving a tap value down here. I hope nobody's caught long in this thing. It must be news pending, but the first thing I do, of course, is please tell me I have it up, because I always say you should have this up so you can check what the halt is. There's NASDAQ Trader. Thank you. Yeah, and there you go. For information requested by the NASDAQ. That seems like it could be potentially worse than news. So here you go. It's halted with information request by the NASDAQ. And the current theoretical auction price is 0.5 cent. It was at 0.7 cents. And it was going to do, it was going to do probably 5-6 billion in volume today. So there's lots of penny stocks out there. That one was easily, because it's so cheap, notionally it's not doing that much in volume. But yeah, big one there. Hopefully no one's caught in that one long. And you're not seeing much of anything. Amazon wanted to go dip buy hunting. It's not really moving much anymore. I got one bid on PayPal when it broke 66. It's now coming back up to retest the highs. I'm sitting in the low 30s, I think, for a better reload in here off that top. So if it gets to the top of the range, short it. Bottom of the range is about 40-50 cents under that. So as long as it stays range bound, I'll trade that one inside the range. And all Swifty, I just happened to look up and see this because I haven't seen anyone mention this name today. Why did I go short on Netflix? I don't know. I haven't looked at Netflix today. I hope, like, selfishly, because
why did you go short, or why did?
No, he's asking. He's asking why they went short. Well, I'm guessing you probably just went short because it's a high of the day play, and the market's been staying inside of a range. But the crazy thing is Netflix breaking a high, another green day for Netflix. That's at least half a dozen in a row, and continuing every single day to make these fresh highs. Super strong stock right now. There just has been nothing staying its way. It's not massive moves to the upside on Netflix. It's just been steady Eddie every single day. Blue sky setup. There's really nothing standing in front of this thing for now, other than whatever the current high of the day is.
Marissa just sends me this. Look at this. I mean, I got this on my phone too. But here it is. Severe weather watch. Check this out. Significant threat to life or property right now. Development of squalls with wind gusts up to 50 knots. I have a hard time getting just knots out of like hockey skates.
Yeah, but
and hail. What hail?
We're getting hail.
It's 25 degrees out. So this is one of the. It's 80 degrees. A line of thunderstorms may cross the waters. Ooh, this afternoon. So Lake Ontario, maybe. The main threat is squalls, 50 knots. Hail is also possible. So we got to end the show. I mean, we got to get home, man. A lot threat of.
I
see
wanted
you
to
guys.
play catch
All right,
outside
nice. Thank you,
again.
Marissa.
Man.
Keep sending these every day because now we can get out of here.
I thought I was playing catch after work tonight with my daughter.
You are. This is not going to happen. And even if it does, man, it's going to be temporary.
Yeah, but hail
loss of life. Okay, what's up, Adair?
You know,
Keep an eye on TSLA. Business Insider reporting that the company is adding over 1,000 workers for its semi-truck output. We know we heard earlier today they're trying to really get that semi-truck production started by the end of this year. So again, Business Insider reporting that Tesla's adding over 1,000 workers for its semi-truck output. Back to you.
Thank you.
All right, so on to the weather again. Yeah, there was a small tornado there you mentioned in Brampton.
It was years ago.
And then we had one in Barrie, just north of us, that tore up many roofs.
That was
the roof is on fire. Yeah, and I think it's just because it's like it's so warm, and I don't know, ain't no weatherman obviously around here, but that seems to be when the worst storms are. Is just when it's like
you get
all quiet and all, and then bang.
I don't mess around. I'm one of those like don't mess around with the weather kind of people. I don't
same.
I don't want the ground to shake, and I'll be the first in a general situation. I'll be the first person to want to evacuate. If that's the case, that's why I love where we live because we don't really have any problems. Like I said, there was like a small touchdown where I live like a few years back. And I remember like there was a friend of mine that I played ball with, and like he got really, really lucky because there was a couple of big down trees in his backyard, and it's like the one that could have hit the house was the one that didn't go down. And what's crazy is in the front city, in the back, you're responsible for everything. So it was like, in terms of like pay, like if it had been the one in the front yard, the city would take care of the damages, but the one in the back, that can
you have insurance, but
that's the thing. You've got insurance, but it's still a pain in the butt.
They trimmed the tree in our front yard last year. For that reason.
Yo, I need to get. We have a birch in the front that's old as dirt, and they all got planted in my neighborhood at the same time. And a couple of neighbors have already had to get theirs out. I'm like, yeah, we got to deal with it because it's in front of the house. This summer for sure, it's happening. Apple triple top high of the day. I see a bunch of people mentioning here. Like yesterday. You know what? The more I look at this on Apple yesterday, I completely disregard the fact that it was a double top. That pullback that it had on the imbalance, that's just any buy imbalance that flips to a sell when the stock is at the high of the day can cause action like that. Because look at the run up, huge double top. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we get something similar where you have this like double, triple top action, then going into power hour, you kind of trend into it and then play a little bit of a fade there on Apple. Like Apple, but just like almost everything else, like we've come to a kind of like an inflection point. Like we rally into this top and we just can't seem to go anywhere. And if this can't break, if Amazon's not breaking away, Nvidia's certainly not doing anything for us in chip land here. So like how are we supposed to break out tops when all we do is rally, get to resistance, and then just start slowing right down? Maybe Nvidia, it's got no red candles.
I was just reading here at Brent.
Oh, Hims is so boring.
Again, okay, so let's maybe think about adding to some of these positions or doing something. So PLTR here today. You know, we saw yesterday this huge run up. Now I was thinking to myself, you know, should have we broke through 16? And when we had written down, we're now $8 away from all-time highs, right, of that 124. So, you know, I was just going to. Now, the biggest loss for me today is huge, and it's that Apple trade that it really ripped up there into that 212 area. I'll show it in a minute. And then it false broke and came right back down, right? And unfortunately, I thought that it had that chance to go. It was beating the market. Now it's under the market. So Palantir, again, today, it just looks like it did the same thing at 116. So I'm kind of glad I'm not overly involved because I would have taken, you guys know me, I would have taken 10 cents, 20 cents, but then I still would be loaded up. And I think the better play is just watching out for this 50-period moving average. We saw it yesterday afternoon, just take that all the way to the upside there and kind of just ride it all the way into the close, which is right here all the way up into the close yesterday. So we didn't break the 50-period moving average at all. And then right now today, this is that pink line. It's a very, very similar sort of reaction play to the high side. So yeah, pullback for this name gets me somewhat excited. We were still waiting for 59, believe it or not, on Google, and the best fill, it goes up to 54 and then back down to 44. I had enough because it ripped up and then stopped. So I did take some at 50. So my price not changing that much, 45 short right now on Google, same trade that we've been working and looking at this whole time. Boeing keeps coming on my scanner here, but I think it's just because it's just bouncing back and forth. Yeah, so it just keeps on hitting here close enough to view up. Like I have the scanner right here on eSignal just showing Boeing, 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 Boeing. It doesn't hit it when it's right at view up, but when it gets close to it. So it would have been triggered there, and it's triggering again right here because we're only 13 cents away from it. So Boeing's still underneath right now and down on the day. So, we'll have to watch out what's going on with the Qs. I'm still short here on Google, but maybe starting to get some more out as we just took another fill there up at 55. Wow, that was a good one. I didn't even notice we got that. 55.16, and now we're starting to fade out. So what do we think of the day here? We do have earnings later on, and I've just sort of yeah, exactly. Starbucks is tomorrow morning, though, I think, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's in the AM.
Oh, boo.
So right into here. Oh no, you're right. No, it's no. Yeah, 405. You're right.
Oh.
So we got Visa tonight, Starbucks, Booking, First Solar, Snap, and Mondelez right here with all earnings. Go find this much better on Trader TV research there. I just put this up right here. And yeah, we'll go find it with, and Snapchat. So a few good earnings plays. We can have a quick little look at those. I think Starbucks is a great call for the long. I don't know, again, I want to see what happens on earnings, obviously, but just this bottom right here, I know the bottom's going to show you 72, but I think a pullback into 80, if we get down 5% there for Starbucks today, then I really like this bid. So we're going to wait to see what happens there. We do have Brian Niccol. We've seen him really rocket Chipotle for the first 10 years of its life. Then he's left over to go over to a Starbucks. And so we'll see right now what winds up happening with this name as they've revamped some of their locations. They've gotten rid of some of the individually owned stores and gone mainly all corporate. Plus, again, a deal in China, better talk with that, I think gets Starbucks going.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a win.
I really like First Solar as a best of breed, and this just comes from Jim Cramer. I've done no work on this whatsoever. But instead of an Enphase or Solar Edge or anything like that, I just think that if you want to play a beat-up sector and you're looking at solar, we can look at the TAN ETF is another one, TAN over there on the Amex. This is another name that we can probably, maybe I'll talk to Brian about this tonight as well. But coming back into 130, this has been a pretty good base rate here. So on earnings, and we're gonna find out. This is why I'm gonna talk to Brian about it because hopefully the earnings will come out before I speak with him. But down into there into 120, he's gonna tell me it's still in the penalty box. But if we do get a good report and we can somehow glide into the 160 area or so, use this as all garbage, then maybe we do kind of float back to the upside. And again, not really a tariff-specific name that I can think of. It's still expensive to equip your home, and maybe some of you in the chat have already done this, but put those solar panels on your house. I still think it's expensive, and with rates where they are, it's cost of capital, it's not cheap to borrow money anymore. So First Solar, I'm interested in that, more interested in Starbucks, but I think First Solar can probably be bought on a good report.
I'm pretty sure it's still expensive. I know for here, it certainly is here. Because I've heard there's a couple of neighbors who've complained about it. They've wanted to do it. It's just like, every time they look into it, they're like, absolutely not. Snapchat's an interesting one. I see a bunch of people in the chat mentioning Snap. They're going to be reporting too. And looky, guess what's trying to break trend on the daily here? Yeah, Snapchat. Back above $9. So what is dead may not die. What is already dead may not die. That could easily qualify. Clearly, you don't know what the report is going to be, but if you're going to squeeze, I would much more. If this ends up being a bad report, then I don't think I want to trade it. If there's any kind of a positive report here and this is breaking out, that makes it very, very spicy and juicy. But you got to zoom out. No matter what happens on Snapchat in the coming days and weeks, if you don't think someone's selling at 13, then you haven't been paying attention. So this stock gets there, you're short. The day that this thing gets above 12.50, you're looking short into this $13 level because someone was selling the boat there over and over and over again. And you try to respect that when it does happen. And the only two things we're in, I did get little reload in PayPal up here. By the way, I forgot to mention on the daily chart, PayPal breaks 68 after earnings, and that would look pretty good. It's just to me, when it failed that 68, and then you're under the 50-period moving average, looked short underneath until it broke VWAP, and then short off the highs now. So it's about 66.5. Just realized I didn't actually throw a bid out there, so we'll get one out in front of 66 even, and then the low here is 65.75 to 65.80, and we'll play that to the south side. Still nothing doing with Amazon, unfortunately. It's trying to dip to let me in. It's just not dipping very far. So this might not be the one. It's want something that's going to be moving. I thought, like we said, we thought maybe HIMS would be a little bit stronger. It's back above VWAP, but look at it do nothing. Barcode action for the last 20, 30 minutes or so. Like just going sideways with a 10 to 15 cent range here on HIMS on, I'd say, relatively light volume. So yeah, nothing's really jumping out for me. I still have only like things like Tesla and Nvidia are up at the top. I pull them up and they're not really moving. So I'm not going to force anything just yet. But I have the eyes on HIMS. If this starts to go, don't mind jumping back into this one. Or like a WW, maybe that could get going. But as you can see, that's not doing much either.
Man, I think I forgot my lip chap again in the car, unless it's in my jacket. Yeah, windburn. And then last night I was on the diamond till 8 again.
My father-in-law makes a lip chap. He does like a homemade lip chap. It's crazy.
Ooh, with wax, like honeybees wax?
Now, I should know the answer to this, but Sean, I don't.
Come on, did you pay attention to what your father-in-law
No, I have no idea how he does it. I just know that we get some, and it's the only, my daughter refuses, doesn't matter how cracked her lips are, she refuses to put anything on, but she'll put Granddad's on, which is great. Because to me, it's literally the same as anything else, yet because Granddad made it, she'll be all over, which is all I could care about.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you make it, but whatever.
All right, so more outs here on Google as we just took a 20 fill there, just massaging this trade. I mean, there it is. Like how many times, like I'm getting out of such a small piece, hoping that this does come to the downside. But all right, what's up to Dan McIsaac? He's saying like maybe it's now time to trim some more Palantir in the long-term account. I haven't trimmed any. Like the last time I got some out was in the $50 mark. So I hadn't gotten anything out even since this turned over to NASDAQ. So I think you might be right as far as having another look at this, but I like the stock forever. I don't, we're long 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, like all these prices we were buying, including the direct listed price at $9.20. So, the fact that it's at 116, it's been a good run. All I'm trying to do now is think about what I'm trying to do today. And that is that if we do drop into, and I'm bidding right here, I just put the bid, I put the bid in when we talked about it, 115.85, that's the 50, okay, we're coming in again right now, maybe we get it. So 10 more cents and we're long, and then I was just gonna give it after that, like not too much lower, because the theory here is that yesterday afternoon, on Palantir, this is what it looked like. We didn't break at all the 50-period moving average. So if we are going to break it today, I'll give it a little bit of room. Like I said, the stock doesn't look at it and go, oh, we're going to just hold here. There has to be other buyers that decide to come in and buy it and support that level, right? And so if it doesn't get supported right there, I'm buying 85s. I have the stop breaking 70. So what is just going to be 15 cents? Because then if we break 70, then we're all the way down here. That is, quite a break of the momentum, right? And so, and of something that didn't happen yesterday. So I'm just going to play that for that reason. Palantir up 1.25%. I like it. The TQs continue to go higher, and Google, we've already talked about it. So, that WW International has really faded off. WW.NQ. Why isn't it just, there it is. Yep, we'll do that. 81 cents right now. So looks like this, despite VWAP being used on mega cap stocks, it looks like you can also use it on these lighter stocks because this VWAP is held now since noon on WW. So I would say watch out below if we break again that level right there, 75 cents. So WW, an interesting name here right now.
An interesting name over in sports betting. Oh. No, we'll come back to it. Okay, we'll come back to it. That's okay, Ramin. Look, in the chat there, people are saying BBI, but I wanted to get to a couple of people had mentioned Spotify, which I'm shocked to see is at the high of the day right now. Because this morning when we were talking about Spot, it was, oh man, this doesn't look really good. You're losing the 50-period moving average. It went right into a big resistance spot at 620 for a lower high. It's going to turn bearish again if we close underneath that 50. And knock on wood, you're not going to close underneath the 50. We were talking about the 3-day rule for Spotify to calm itself down. Well, it needed apparently 35 to 40 minutes after the open to decide that everything was A-okay and maybe just an overreaction. I'm not sitting here saying that you got to take profit on this. But I look at it, and this is exactly the kind of stock. If I owned a stock that looked like this, I'm not in Spotify, and I had never taken any profit on it, this would be the moment that I'm like, yeah, that area right in here under 600 would look pretty good. I'm just talking about when you're in something for really long. And I know I feel this way because it's eerily similar to something Eli Lilly did, which this is a stock that I do own. And I remember when Eli Lilly first made this type of a move, I'm not talking about like out here. I'm looking back at it. You know, when Eli Lilly was here, it will trend up, does its big pullback, gives you a second chance at that high, and then puts in like a couple, 2 or 3 lower highs, and you get the reprieve. It's like, yeah, well, maybe you should take something out of it, and you got a chance to buy it back at 700 a few times. I think Spotify feels like that, at least to me. You never really know. Oh, for people mentioning Archer, is Archer moving? Archer Aviation, 3%, not really. I just know this one can go. We're looking for something that's actually going to give you some juice, and this breaking out 9 would have been pretty spicy. It's actually at 880, so it's really close. You break 9 on the daily, maybe even just this local high, and this could be something, but where's the volume, and where's the reason why we're going to get going? I like the call out because of how it's looking for the setup. I know it's got a decent enough short float that it can rally, but without a catalyst or any volume going into it now, I'm not sure there's going to be a break there in Archer. But thank you. It was a K Hoddle out there in the chat mentioning this one. I like the setup. Sometimes you put an alert on something like that so you don't miss the break, and you can be good to go. Still in the same things. I mean, PayPal, Intel. I got another bid on Intel, but sort of sliding around. You got to see a 3-minute because a 15-minute's going to be of little use on Intel. Like local bottom 2040, higher low 2050, VWAP 2060, so kind of like every 5 or 10 cents, Intel's making a little bit of a move. Ken mentions Okta had a good move today. Something going on with Okta. I think there might be, is it index action? No, maybe not. I swear I read something about Okta. But because I don't remember it, then I'm not gonna, until I can find it, don't assume that there is news, but there was something going on with Okta, which has been absolutely flying to the upside. Yeah, this triple top on this, it's been absolutely flying, but you're so close to overhead resistance. I swear there was something happening with the stock. But I could be wrong about that. If there's no news, don't at me. I think we are ready now, because I guarantee you, people probably found the odds interesting betting on Shador over the weekend. And if you want top tier odds in any type of sports betting, then this is it. Because ProfitX, it's like trading within your bets. Place bids, place asks, peer-to-peer picking, OpenAI access, so you're able to sort of do automated trading. It's all in one place too. Like you can see the book the same way you see a book while you're trading. You make the offers, you match the plays, and manage your risk. That's the big thing. You want to be able to exchange in and out, which is fantastic. You can be very active, or you can sit outside of the book and try to get great odds, which if you've ever checked with any other website, you're going to find that the odds are very much in your favor here. It's a smart and fast way to play. You still have the opportunity to use the code TRADERTV to get the sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. And you may or may not want to take that opportunity and throw something on the Leafs to end it all tonight, because that's what's going to happen. I didn't think they'd sweep. It's over tonight.
Yeah, I think it's over too. It's been 3 overtimes in a row. I
don't. Well, I mean, it's not saying a lot to say it will not be in overtime, because obviously most games don't go to overtime. but this one's not going to overtime. I think the Leafs will going to be in control tonight.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a not stressful for Leafs fans. That's yeah.
Well, that would be very nice. Right there. All right, well, the only trade that I've had on right here is this push of Google. We've had it twice since we've been on, and there it goes right now to the downside. So we're going to get out some more and hope that it can push lower. We're still waiting for that fill on Palantir. Still that 10 cents away from that. A quick look at SoFi earnings. Huge move today early, bad move late. Trying to get going now, though, if we're going to talk about late. As we enter in 15 seconds, we'll be entering some kind of hour, and I'm not going to spoil it for you because we have a great visual for that. And on that note, I just put out a little note here, and I've been talking a little bit about Starbucks. And right now,
Power Hour.
that was all right. I like to see that. Was that quiet, or we just didn't hear it? I like it to be a little loud. Power Hour.
I didn't hear.
Or you know what would be cool if you could say it, we are entering the Power Hour.
Yeah,
I think that was Fabian's voice anyways. I think he's just getting deep. He's like, power. Anyways, what do you think of Starbucks? I said up 11%. I was thinking here today.
11%?
Yeah, I'm excited about
What's the
it.
expected?
The actually implied move, that's exactly a great question. I was just going to find that out myself.
Oh, no.
The implied move is just 7%. So I think 11%. I kind of randomly chose that number right there, but I thought Starbucks earnings could be in and around that 11% mark for tomorrow. So go over, let me know. The winner tomorrow gets a shout out, which we do all the time on the show, but I'm going to shout you guys out tomorrow. Whoever's got that one, the right move to the up or downside. I said you got to put plus or minus in on that one, and I'll go over some of the.
So it's not absolute value. You got to get the.
I just. Yeah. What do you think it's going to be up, down? Because, I think there'll be too many, similar guesses if we just do that. But, 11% up on this one. I was talking about $90, potentially getting a hold there. So $84, 8.5. Give us a little bit more than that. Give us $9 higher. I like that one. I still didn't hear it, but whatever. There's a 200 periods at $94. So that gets us in and around that 11%. That'll be higher than 11%. I think we can get in that area for Starbucks. So let me know what you guys are thinking already, and we'll get that posted, and we'll figure out where Starbucks goes. Tesla, 286, a little bit of barcode action. Look, something's going to have to move in order for something to happen. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but that is literally what's going to have to happen. If the market just floats around like this, then we got to get lucky, right? And we just got unlucky right there because that Palantir, what price are we at? 85? It went to 90. So if we just get that fill, then right now we're 30 cents in the money, and we're happy with it. We can add to sort of the net for the day, but right now, we just missed that. So I feel comfortable doing that. We do have a plan of action, but you know what? Actually, I'm going to cancel and regroup because we did break below that 50-period moving average. That was the only reason I was bidding 85 is because that's where that was. So now we have to rethink about bidding maybe even 116 flat. And I'm not sure I like that too much, but there's that bottom, 115.90. So we could still bid 116 and see what winds up happening. Dara, what you got over there?
What I've got here, Sean, is our earnings and events calendar for tomorrow, and it's a big one. Meta actually, shockingly, expected to report pretty late tomorrow, 4:40 p.m., but, they reported late last time, and that didn't stop us either, so definitely check out the mega-sized market recap tomorrow for Microsoft, Meta, Qualcomm, Robinhood, eBay, and Albemarle. Pre-market, if you like these spready tickers, you're in luck because we have a slew of them reporting. Humana, Caterpillar, both set to report earnings before the bell. And in the economic data side of things, gets really spicy tomorrow as well. PCE and GDP both coming at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Then we'll get some other minor prints at 9:45 and 10 a.m. So for all the details, go to X at TTV Research. Check out this infographic. And if you're wondering what the implied moves for tonight's earnings and tomorrow morning's earnings are going to be, there's going to be an infographic out post-haste with all of that info for you. Back to you.
Yeah, so all they're doing now is telling you that they're going to be out at 4:40.
Right.
Which is silly, because last time the expectation was they would be out, I think, at 4:15 or 4:10 it was. Thank you, Adara. Adara doesn't forget anything. It was 4:10, and then it was 4, and then they came out at 4:40. So this time they're just going to let you know it's going to be late. So I don't know. I'll work the magic, make sure we get
All right, we're in Palantir.
get everybody to stick around for that one. Because like you're not getting a bigger earnings name this week, I don't think, than Meta. It's just too big of a one tomorrow. Right, Amazon's still not doing much of anything. I mean, the only thing that's happening, right, is like you're sliding, like the Intel short off VWAP is sliding down. But I want 2040. So we just broke to 50, heading toward those lows. We're in the power hour now, so you got to figure we're going to start moving. And then don't forget what happened yesterday. I wasn't here yesterday, but pull up any Mag 7 chart, well, all of them except for I think NVIDIA, and look at the rally. And then after the imbalances at 350, again, 354, 55, huge reversal pattern. So just be ready. I think we might see some price action at 350. So you want to be into your trades as opposed to trying to make something happen and chasing a move. We get a little bit too late. So just be very, very careful. Huge reversals late in the day. But yeah, I mean, so far, only the scalp trade short's been paying off here.
Yep. So we actually just scalp trade long right here with Palantir, and it's just really not doing anything. We go 116 to 116.10. I am waiting for 116.15 because my stop is going to be 15 cents. So if we get below some of these little bottom wicks right here, this is 85. So I'm not, you know, as Neil mentioned, we do wait for these imbalances, which are still ways away. It had nothing to do with right now. But if we break below this level and if we zoom back out, we didn't really have that experience yesterday of a breakdown. So, you know, what one day doesn't mean the next day is going to happen. So we're just going to sit there, try to protect this. Google's absolutely making the move lower. So I'm really, really happy with the way we've traded Google there, taking now 40 cents on that one. You know, despite it only being a $160 name, it is trying to get lower. If the market cranks, we're good to go on this. I'm only bidding 95s and then no more bids. Let it come out, because if I just keep on getting it out, then I'm going to be upset if and when it does wind up dropping. We do have the long, right, for Palantir, just in case it goes. So I'm okay with what we're doing so far here today. Put some stuff in the chat. Like, I'm looking at this hot list right now for trades. We have Palantir, we have Tesla. What the heck is TVGN? This could be one that maybe we've Semper. Right there today, up 10. So nice little move for Semper there today, up 10%. MLGO down 13%. So there goes MLGO right now to the downside, down 13%. Wow, okay.
$6? Oh,
yeah, that was a really crazy name for a while here. As micro algo continues to get beat up, man, that was not good. Squeeze play, you know, reverse split. I feel like a bunch of times whenever you see this happen, that's a reverse split, and that's it coming back to life. There it is again. There it is again. There it is again. I'm just going to imagine that these are all reverse splits right back in. This one held for some reason, so it really got going. So nicely done there to the upside for anybody holding on to MLGO.
Abel's almost there, man.
Looks like a good one. SCHD, that's an ETF, I believe. Yeah, dividend equity ETF, so that's nothing going on there. So if you want to play instead of SPY, you can get dividends and trade SCHD. Here, I'll show it to you. I as soon as I read it, I knew what it was. It's the Schwab dividend. I don't know what they pay exactly, but if you're looking to get some dividends, okay, here we go. The market's now blasting a little bit. So Intel, I didn't mean to click on Intel. It's Palantir. Here we go. So there is news right now in the market, whether you like it or not. Google's starting to go back up right now. I have my ear to the ground and I don't hear anything, so I'm going to refresh my audio. But yay, Palantir. I mean, you know, this name, let's go. We finally into that. Well, this is a big win for me, honestly. Now, finally, we get one on board now. There goes Palantir. And sometimes it's not about getting lucky. I mean, if you play the trend and you play a stock that you know is strong, then when the market goes up, stock's supposed to go up. This is my frustration over the last couple of days because I feel like we've had some great plays, but I keep dropping the ball a little bit here and not getting the right position. So I'm actually going to cancel. I did have a Google take a little bit higher, but if there is something brewing right now, we've done really well to get out, so I'm going to get some more out there if we do come back in. But let's just empty the clip, man. It's another 40-cent winner for your boy right now, so we'll hit the sirens up there. We cooking one more time. I don't want to interrupt the sirens. We're cooking right there on Palantir, so nice upside move right there, and we'll go over to Adair and find out what's this all about.
Financial Times reporting that Donald Trump is set to announce a new car tariff relief here in Michigan tonight. I want to specify some headlines I'm seeing are just saying he's going to announce more tariff relief. The official Financial Times headline is, and I quote, Trump set to announce new car tariff climb down in Michigan. So it does appear, based on the official headline, regardless of any headlines swirling around X, that these tariff announcements are going to specifically have to do with car tariffs. Howard Lutnick, who is the U.S. Commerce Secretary, already talked about these car tariff moves earlier today. So it's unclear if anything he says is going to be different from the very detailed outline Howard Lutnick gave. But regardless, Financial Times reporting that Trump, during his address in Michigan for his 100th day of his second term, is set to talk about car tariff relief. Again, I'm only seeing specifically car tariff relief. Financial Times, back to you.
Thanks, Adair. I think that's why you had like a spike. I mean, some things had a spike up. I got myself into Amazon after it just pulled back off the high. So look, if it's not going to get down to the 186.80, it went right into 188 and then pulled back into 187.5. On the way back up, I grabbed some 60s. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I also did a punch on PayPal up at that high. Like it spiked up, didn't break the high, so I punched in again. And it might break out the top on this one. So it hasn't been any huge dips on this. I took some more out. Again, when there's a spike like that, the first thing I did was went over, I'm like, oh, let's just punch some more out of Intel, and did so. This is holding under VWAP, so I'm not terribly concerned there. So the only new position was one I was expecting to get a little bit lower in the low 187 range on Amazon. Instead, when the news hits or that headline hit, I just got into the long. Don't need those bids out there anymore. We'll just leave the 64 and add more at the same price. So instead of waiting for it to get down to here, I'm going to play it off of this 40 level and just keep it tight to the vest. We'll see what happens. I like this. And Greg Moore, I think I agree with you on this one. What this tells us is that they're not as rigid as the market may have feared. I think that's exactly what you're seeing here. Like everyone's like, well, who's going to blink first and what's going to happen next? I think you're starting to see this. Hopefully behind the scenes some deals are getting done that you're getting a little more flexibility and it's not going to be all the doom and gloom that everyone was expecting. So I think that's a good sign overall for the market. We still haven't been able to break out the highs, but we're still upward trending. So you take what you can get, and if it's inside the range, like if you got, like I'm staring down like a 40, 50 cent range here on Amazon. So that's what we'll play inside until it decides it wants to break out. And then you can make a run at this, which would be like $1 higher. So the high of the day here would still be $1. I just want to get something out in front of 188, play it as we happen to see it here. And I'm looking over, like you're even having Tesla break out, hopefully break out this 287 on Tesla. That looks really good. Remember, everybody, Tesla's about to squeeze all the death cross traders. When this takes out about 295, all the death cross traders, or a lot of them, are probably getting stopped out for the first stop out, I think, on that technical setup, which is always a good catalyst. Some shorts getting squeezed here in Tesla if we break 95. Let's go back to Adair. More news.
Keep an eye on Electronic Arts, or EA. Bloomberg reporting that the company is laying off hundreds of employees, and they're also canceling their Titanfall game. We know EA stock has been rocky. They dropped pretty recently on some weaker than expected preliminary earnings. So EA on watch, so it's not reacting hugely to this story, but keep an eye on the market. I did mention earlier that this Financial Times headline about car tariffs seemed to be a little bit of a rehashing of things we'd already heard from Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick earlier today. I'm reading this actual article, and it basically seems, like I said, that it's going to be pretty much what Howard Lutnick said in detail. Basically, automakers assembling in the U.S. will get partial rebates up to 3.75% of vehicle value on tariffs through 2026. As Howard Lutnick said earlier, you'll get up to 2 years of relief, but you will not be getting a third year of tariff relief. So this also comes a couple days before a 25% tariff on imported parts was set to kick in. And then steel and aluminum tariffs are going to be waived for parts makers, but China parts still have a 20% levy. That's according to Financial Times. Again, we're reportedly expected to get more details from President Trump himself at around 6 p.m. here in Michigan. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. You want to know what it looks like in a chart when like a firm or two has control of it on the daily? Pull up EA. That's what control of a stock looks like at $146 to $147. Like if you're in this chop zone, what are your options for trade? Your only option lately has been to sit short it, and this is wild. Like, you don't usually see stuff like this. So I don't care what your catalyst is. Right now, someone's in wild control of this stock and not letting it break out. And just look at how that's been happening. Like, every time it gets into 147, look at the 15-minute chart. Sellers, 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 over and over and over again. It's exactly the kind of thing, if it breaks the dollar higher, maybe you look for breakout trades. But there goes PayPal. So we got our reload. Only the first trade actually ended up working and giving us our 40 cents. So this one just broke out the top. I'm not fighting it. I'm going to stay away. I might get the dip buy again on Amazon, however. That came in, try to tag 188, pulling right back in. This time I want some 50s if we can get them. We're going to play inside the range on Amazon as long as it holds. And hey, Intel doesn't want to go. They can't even get to VWAP. So this is a hold, but I'm going to get out in front of 2040, that local bottom here on Intel. And lo and behold, I guess maybe it did start going. Not on good volume, but WW did make the bounce off VWAP. It's just the volume is so bad on this stock right now. Usually you want it screaming, doing at least, you don't have to be doing more volume or the same kind of volume you were doing in the morning, but what I'd like to see at least is increasing volume, right? Like, not like spike and then maintain levels, or at least be increasing. You're not getting any of that out there in WW. It's something I want to be in again, because I don't necessarily think it's completely done. It's just not giving me any signs of any continuation. And I feel the same thing about HIMS. Like, HIMS trying to hold VWAP, but look at it go sideways. Volume is more sideways than anything else. Just doesn't seem to want to go. Airy Pages, come on, that's not what it is. What just happened on NVIDIA? Yeah, let's go to Adara. What just happened?
More reports about Trump and the U.S. administration coming through. Reuters reporting that the Trump admin is working on changes to a Biden-era rule that would limit most countries' access to U.S.-designed AI chips. So apparently, the administration is considering removing tiered system and replacing it with government-to-government agreements. So basically, we know that the Biden administration, specifically in the last couple of years, really was limiting a lot of countries' access to U.S.-designed AI chips. Specifically, China. Looks like what the U.S. or the new U.S. administration is trying to do is replacing this tiered system with government-to-government agreements. We know this administration likes talking to each government at a time, and it looks like they're trying to do the same thing with their chip agreement. So not necessarily a negative story on its face. It implies that they're going to get rid of the one-size-fits-all approach and do a government-by-government approach. Back to you. Reuters reported, so not confirmed.
Well, that's obviously the spike down in NVIDIA, everybody. So, like, the market took a little bit of a turn, but most of it was because of NVIDIA. You know what? Let's not. It's one thing trying to get the rubber band action on the way up and missing it through VWAP and then sitting on the bid, because ultimately that's a story that would be negative for NVIDIA, obviously. So it broke VWAP, broke 109 there. When I saw it hold VWAP through, I flipped right over. I'm like, let's try to punch through 09, didn't get it. But yeah, that's going to the... We'll see, because obviously you can still get these, like, you know, deal by deal. It just might make it a little bit more difficult. So that could weigh on NVIDIA here. Probably a few other names, but I would imagine they're going to be the biggest player in that regard. Kind of hoping that's not necessarily... What is that doing to ARM? Yeah, ARM's losing VWAP today. Not encouraged by ARM's price action today at all. When the market broke out, as an ARM shareholder, this was not what I wanted to see. ARM doing nothing with its bull flag and resistance at 115. This is not going to help the cause for them. They report soon, I believe. Yeah, it's not good for ARM. Not that I'm getting it.
All right. I want to put a poll up here. All right. So, yeah. So, Palantir makes that. Oh, yeah. I'm going to check out how that Starbucks one is doing for sure. Yeah. So, I'm going to get something out again at 10s here on Palantir. I do think that if we're going to look at the chip space now, this is the kind of stuff that I'm honestly over with. I was talking with some people this weekend as well at baseball, and it's just like they're asking about the market and how is it for business. I'm like, for business, it's great. I mean, the viewers, all of us trading, I mean, it's giving some good opportunities. But obviously, as investors, it's a headache because one day, you know, you think that maybe there's an all clear, and then we're getting some of these different stories, but it's just all just basically fluff. It's just noise. And I think that what you need to do is look out. And I think that we've done that. Look at monthly charts, daily charts instead of intraday charts. Because unless you're sitting here being able to scalp in and out, you know, like a story like that, like AMD was just at 97 and then 30 minutes later, you're down here to 96 again. So it's like you lose $1. It's great for us traders that are in the options game or doing what we're doing here live and being able to scalp in and out. But if you're gonna like base your longer term portfolio decisions on some of this tariff news, I don't think you do anything until you're, exactly, good luck with that, until you're basically got the all go or whatever, a green or red light. Like, because remember, that tariff pause was 90 days. How many days ago was that? Like, he's going to be running out of days here soon. And then does that get extended? If it does, then is that another bump, to the market? If that 90-day comes and we still don't have a deal with China, Canada, so on and so forth, I can clearly see that we're doing it now with tariff specific on different industries, right? Like right now, if he's going to all of a sudden remove the auto tariffs or whatever that story was there, then yeah, sure, that's going to affect Tesla, General Motors, and so on and so forth. But it's not an overall blanket saying it's okay now for Canada. This is just very specific. So, we still have the power issues, steel, aluminum, lumber, dairy. Like there's this whole overhang here, and it seems like we're just addressing one specific industry at a time, and that's not really solving any of these problems. It makes me think that there is no deals in place at all. This is just like, us as the United States have decided to go back on this or to change that. So it's just a very interesting time, and we're going to wait to see what winds up happening. It looks like Palantir will come out. We got out of half of that trade, pretty much. Actually, we're a little less than half right now. So that was a great move up. And as soon as that moved into the 40s, and we got some 45s, like again, on that auto story that has nothing to do with Palantir, this stock shoots up. And we're right back into this level. So we're now underneath the 50-period moving average. I've tried it on Palantir. I can see my net. We've only made one trade on it. So this will be a good positive stock for me today, even if we lose that bottom area where we're going to get stopped out. And here it comes right back up. And you know what? I'm going to take another piece out right here, this time at 9s, or did I put 10s? We're at 9s right now. Hopefully it can move another back up there. There it is, we get it. Now, that's the 50-period moving average. Now let's fly. We have this trade into the close. Let's see if it can do something right there for PLTR. Yeah, Tesla today was a small little hit for me early. You guys want to talk about it, that makes sense. I do think, though, with all this news, what about a 287 break right here for Tesla? It's been barcoding all afternoon. That seems like it's the top of the day. Let's go long here at 287 on Tesla. That break looks like it may work out. We do have the 50 period as a spot, but look how choppy this is. This looks to me like you're just waiting to get stopped out. Like you go long through there, you guys thought it was ripping. Instead, we use that liquidity to get short. Then it comes all the way down here, and I say, well, my stop is down here at 285. Boom, run that stop, and then right back up. We've already showed you examples today. Okay, now goes Palantir, go boom a little bit here. Let's get another piece out at 20s here. There it is. Yes, sir. All right. Right now, let's get some pieces out right now. That one, we'll get some pieces out right here. What's up to Matthew? We'll get some pieces. There it is. Yes, 160.27. So Google go downside, Palantir go upside. Finally, we thinking properly there. Play the names that are showing us the support, play off those levels, let it come back in. It's not like it's tanking, but we'll take the profit on that, right? We're short 46s, we'll take a 30 fill. And then there goes Palantir. We said we'd let this thing ride, so let's let it ride, Russell Wilson style. We just hope not to get benched. Here it goes, 116.30. We'll take some out. I'm actually at 32s. Let's see if we can climb a little bit there. Wouldn't surprise me if Palantir hits a little bit of a
Hail Mary.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I was trying to use a baseball term. Like I was going to say, maybe a double here. A home run would be this thing just rips into the close. I'd take a double if we can get to 117. We'll take $1 on it. I think that's pretty good. And then anything higher than that would be fantastic. Remember, we're just risking 15 cents on this trade since we've had it now for about a half hour. Very close to being stopped out a couple times. Did not get stopped out, so let's take advantage. And I'm offering 30s right now on Palantir. See if we can get that level. Nice upside play there. And the TQQs, man, just hovering around. We had less than 5. We had about 4% left of this. Just doing real small work here on the triple Qs. Starbucks, oh yeah. We'll check in on that in a minute. I wanted to see SMCI just to see if there's anything moving.
I was looking at the other chip names, and nothing really stood out when I looked at essentially what was going on after that. I'm going to get to Amazon in just a quick second, because I was looking I did go over to SMCI. It did not drop the same way NVIDIA is, but you're getting some continuation in the chips. Like that last bounce up, the things that didn't participate were all chip names. So you're under VWAP. You were already weak on SMCI. It was in the Intel bucket where it just couldn't get anything going in here today. But it's not a hefty drop, but this does not look healthy at all on SMCI. Market, bull flag up. SMCI, bear flag, obviously down. I just realized when I say that it sounds ridiculous to say bear flag down, but you know what I mean. This doesn't look good. Like I said, I put this in the Intel bucket. And NVIDIA, which was holding up pretty well after that headline, a little bit of a topping tail candle. If NVIDIA loses VWAP, I think all bets are going to be off. Amazon just went back to flat after popping up. So yeah, can't seem to get to the top end of the range at 188. And now back to just about break even. I'm still looking to buy dips at better prices if I can, and I'm holding on to the Intel short. Like the chip names, that's been a source of weakness for some of the chip names for sure. I had to check in on Micron. Micron down 1.5 today. This is another one which cannot seem to get going, that $80 level, the prior support. Yeah, a lot of chip names having a lot of trouble breaking through. It's hard for us to go if the chips don't want to go with us. Like, there's nothing wrong with Tesla right now. It's up at the highs and looking strong, as we showed you. Amazon's up at the top end of the range, but we're getting a lot of weakness, unfortunately, in some of these chips. That's holding the overall market, I would say, down. Nothing much on the early look, but AMCR, by the way, is gigantic. It's supposed to be a huge buy tomorrow, so I'm expecting to see some imbalances on AMCR, and I believe this BERY is coming out of one of the indexes. So there are some index actions in the next couple of days. These are probably legit size on the early look. AMCR, it comes out of a big buy a day early, sometimes we'll still take it.
All right, good work there, Phil from MD. Palantir long, $50. Yeah, good job on that one. I mean, that's a double up. We definitely like that. Get Starbucks earnings right here. So I put it on here. Edimus says down 11 on the close, on the release, then bounce up 9 from the close in the aftermarket. So net 2, it looks like you're thinking down 2%. Maniac Zach says 19%. I like that one. Up 12, says Edison there as well. And then down, Bigfoot 3, down 7%. I just did another one here because it's Trump's 100 days. We do have an infographic for that. Yeah. So right here, how about this? We only have 38 votes, but where are we ranking this? You know, his approval rating is the lowest of any president after its first 100 days. I don't want to hold him. I mean, he's going to be responsible for that, but obviously when you're doing such dramatic moves as Doge and things like that, I'm not sure any other president has actually signed as many declarations or any of these things as much as President Trump has. So he is going to pee off people, that is for sure. So right now, we still got, I mean, it's pretty funny that F is 42%. The next highest is A. So you want to talk about splitting the aisle right there. ABC, I don't know why you see, I should have done ABF right there, but it looks like F right now getting it. So go over there. Bears versus Bulls, will put that in the chat. Make sure you go and vote for that one. I think that's going to be pretty interesting there with Donald Trump and his first 100 days in office. Can't say it hasn't been eventful.
There's no question it's been ridiculous.
I think we got to go to Adair and then we'll talk back.
Go to Adair.
Here are the implied moves for earnings that you're going to be trading for day one tomorrow. So on this side, we've got tonight's reports. On the other side of the bench, we're going to be having the names that are reporting tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, bit of a lighter day in terms of implied moves, though Etsy expected to move 11%. And in kind of a shocker, Humana, we're having a 9% expected move, almost 10%. But tonight, without a doubt, the largest expected move comes for Snapchat or SNAP. Almost 20% expected move for Snap. Starbucks here coming in around 7.4%. For Solar, around 8.8%. So you can check out all these expected moves on X at TTV Research. Furthermore, because we just talked about Trump's first 100 days, there's an infographic for that, as there are for a lot of things here on X at TTV Research with this lovely orange background. What I did was I looked at the weekly percentage moves for the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, the IWM, and Bitcoin against the US dollar for every single week since Trump's inauguration on January 20th. So if you want to take a look at some of these weekly moves and some of the context behind said moves, you can just go on X at TTV Research to do that. Half an hour through Power Hour, only half an hour until we get that market recap show. Like, subscribe, and join us there at 4 p.m. Back to you.
Weren't there supposed to be XRP?
Was there?
Were we supposed to
XRP?
get XRP ETF approvals? There hasn't been anything.
I'm not sure.
Weren't there some? I thought I read something over the weekend that they might be coming soon, but
$2.30.
yeah, maybe not. I swear I heard something. You guys let me know. Is that we getting that anytime soon? I feel like that's been. We get rumors about what's the next crypto ETF coming, and I know XRP is supposed to be there, but you guys let me know in the chat, because the chat's going to be way more informed than I am. So basically, look, the same thing here. We're getting bounces. I just got a nice little bounce here off the 30s on Amazon, but it's still very much inside the same range. What I don't like is in this range, it's like a descending wedge, so you're getting lower lows, but you're also, on the pops, you're getting lower highs. So you're able to take the scalp trade, but you're descending as you do it, and if this 20 breaks, I'm jumping away, because it is now 330. So you're getting into that final throws, and I'm reminded of kind of the dipsy-do that we did in the last end of the day here on, I guess, would have been imbalance flips. All the Mag 7 names did a big reversal. I'd be a little bit cautious about that. Remember, in the last, I believe it's 10 minutes of the day, companies that are doing buybacks can't actually buy their own stock back in the final 10 minutes. That can create some weakness every now and then when there's program buying in the afternoon. I want to make sure we get this profit now. I think we're going back to the desk. Adair's got more. No?
I looked into the XRP thing. So basically what happened was I can confirm April 30th is not actually the date. There were some, based on a regulatory filing that happened on April 15th, there was some misinterpretation suggesting that ProShares would have their XRP ETF scheduled to be released on April 30th. ProShares came out and said, hey, that is not real. We have no updates for the time being, and we certainly do not have an XRP ETF coming out April 30th. Some commentators expecting we're probably going to get one in the near term, or near to midterm, but we don't actually have any concrete update either from speculators or from ProShares itself on the timing of an XRP ETF at this time. Back to you.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, someone got the date wrong. But Tesla is absolutely pumping. You know what? Maybe I'm going to put a trailing stop on that Intel, because it's been sitting on it. Got like one reload on it, and now it doesn't want to get to VWAP, and you're past 330. So I'm going to throw a trailing stop on that. I just don't want it to get all the way back to VWAP and waste it all. It has to trend down and actually break lower with some oomph. Otherwise, who cares? So Amazon's kind of holding that same support level for sure. Tesla just broke out 287. Remember Tesla got up here a couple times and really sold it when it got above 288. Maybe this is that late day rally we're looking for. Let me just double check. I wasn't here yesterday. Did Tesla participate in that pullback at the end of the day? It did not.
There wasn't much of a pullback. It was just that Apple, I think.
Yeah, Apple was.
I said we would take 287.
Apple was the biggest one. Apple at 350, Apple was by far the biggest drop. Amazon's was solid. Tesla didn't really do it. This was just all buy program in the afternoon. Maybe it'll dip back to 87. Slide in. I don't know.
I mean,
What's this? Oh, I gotta
rewind the time. I was just saying. I mean, we liked that 287 break. I said I'm going long Tesla breaking 287. I mean, we didn't do it, so just forgot to put the order in. Got up to the desk to do the. All right, I think everyone probably heard that. So we will be going to Adara very soon, and no rush on that as well. But yeah, there's that 287 break on good tariff news, or auto news, right, about tariffs. So there goes Tesla right there. Nice look at the volume there. Oh man, why didn't we? I was trying to participate in it and I forgot to put it up. So, okay, that doesn't matter. It's what we did. We did that. So Google making that move. I'm going to put another bid, and I'm just talking my book here because we only have 30 minutes left. We will go over some, implied moves here and earnings and whatnot. Thank you everybody for participating in that poll as well. But yeah, Palantir 18 cents, the TQs are $1.40, and Google right now is 23 cents. We're going to end the day on a good foot here as we watch these markets kind of bounce around a little bit. But let's go over to Darren and see what she's up to.
Speaking of tariffs here and automated vehicles, I actually have a bit of an interesting report here. We know we've heard about Boeing trying to get someone to purchase these planes that China has now said they're not going to accept due to some tariff and trade concerns. Air India, or Indian Airlines in general, were one of the names we heard in the mix. Now I'm seeing this come through on X. Apparently, Air India is looking to take deliveries of Boeing planes that China rejected, but that would basically be a quid pro quo move with regards to tariffs. So reports I'm seeing are suggesting that Boeing could actually be, interestingly enough, a bit of an interim player in this Trump tariff situation. Air India reportedly looking to take these planes in a quid pro quo or tit for tat move with regards to Trump's reciprocal tariffs. Unclear exactly what the exchange would entail, but seeing those reports circulate, I think it's worth noting here, BA not moving. This is kind of rumors we've heard before, but I think worth restating nonetheless as the market continues to digest headline after headline about tariffs. Back to you.
I feel like we dip on us. Yeah. We dip, you get something on the dip, and then we go back to a Dara, and then the market pops up a little again. Anyone notice that pattern like the last 3 times here? It just feels like that's true. But for Boeing specifically, it feels trappish here in the mid 180s to 190, because this has been trying to get through this price for a very, very long time. Like the last time we were holding above 200, you got to go all the way back. In a year? Oh goodness. Yeah, it's over a year ago. That was March. And look what's been happening whenever it gets into the low 190s. Every single time. You know what's up. We break 200. I think this one has a chance to go. You missed the dip buy on this, but this level here might give you a second chance on Boeing. They haven't had too many horrible headlines in a while, and that's, I think, all it really needed. The downward trend is effectively broken. You're in a consolidated phase now. All you got to do is break that out. You got the 200 and the 50 holding out for both of you. They're flattening out, which is good. The downward 200 sloping is flattening out. The 50 period is flattening out. Those are all generally good signs that you can potentially break out here soon for Boeing. Yeah, we'd love to see it, but it's that major, major resistance. I'm on the offer in front of 188. If we're not going to break it, I guess we'll just float back and forth at $0.50. We only got up there once, and then we're buying lower every single time. I have got the trail out. Oh, wow, Tesla is going to break. Shoot.
Why am I not long?
Forget about the 87. Yeah, forget about it. It's not going back to 87. Tesla's just gone. Looks like we're headed down to, or up to 289 is the top. Sheesh.
We could have made our whole day right there just by buying what we said we would, and we did get distracted doing that. Palantir, though, straight upside. And how you can view most of these upside moves is with any charting platform, really. But if you do want to back test, I feel like we found the best one for you. eSignal will give you everything you need all in one place. The back testing, the reliability of the quotes, even those imbalance locators that we talked about are available there on eSignal as well. And yeah, just all the scanners, the easy to use trading platform. The fact that it can connect over 50 plus brokers is obviously really important as well. Option chain, whatever kind of trader you are, eSignal has something for you. So it's 1 month for free. Scan that QR code. You want to thank eSignal. I don't know, guys, how long that promotion's going to last for. I mean, it may not even be there in May. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you do scan that ASAP and get part of that promotion now. And then, hey, if you don't like it, then, leave it alone. And, but it is worth, I think anyways, that small attempt to do that. So yeah, that's a mistake, man. I mean, I know those of you in the chat that do follow some of the trades that I mentioned, I hope that you had that break. And again, when it's barcoding with news, boom. It's the barcoding without the news. And when we had talked about that, we had said if it does break that level, that was looking half decent. But, to talk about something is one thing, to take the trade is another. So respect anybody that did wind up doing exactly that by taking that trade. So good look there. Now, I was looking at it and I'm like, all right, are we going to miss it again? Well, this is the thing. I don't think right now we want to take 290. So 289 could be a trade. These top wicks, we've only gone to 289.40s. That's a little risky for sure. A pullback could be $3 or $4. And then once you get into 290, then you have some air, right? This is from 2 days ago where we made that move up to 293 and then absolutely cranked lower. So I think tomorrow, this is going to be another trade. It was on the watch list today. It was on the sticky note today. We like Tesla. I like the long. I talked about it down there at 231 there before earnings. And I feel same ways about many of these Mag 7 names that have been so beat up, like in Amazon, that their report is probably going to be half decent. You know, we know these companies are making money. Tesla's a little different. They did not have a great report, but yet still the momentum and, you know, the love of this stock creates this. So on that news, it looks like see what I'm saying? It looks like it's pulling back. So I think the 50 period would be in play for that as well. Just check back here. We do have Starbucks earnings later on today. We have almost 100 votes right now. A or F is the answer right now. B and C will just be kind of like middle of the road. You know, it's like my kid goes,
No one's good.
Dad, I got a B in math class. Not good enough. So, you know, you got to get A's, and I told him that. He knows that. And then he went out and I don't think he got decent mark his last one out. But he's like, oh, I'm not really going to try until high school. All right, I mean, that's fine, whatever. Whatever these guys want to do. Is there an E on there? F that guy, that's funny, short stalker. First vote you got, so thank you so much.
Before.
To Laguna as well. And then I have so many of these fake followers, it's absolutely crazy. So I try to block them all. See, I stumbled upon this trader, and if you ever see any of this, do not accept any sort of scam from anybody on any of our platforms. You know, we're not selling crypto, we're not doing anything like that, and it does happen
nobody wants to get
quite often. No,
whether it's like someone saying, "Hey, come buy my free stock watch list or crypto, or buy my shoes," like whatever it might be. You just don't want to get wrapped up in some kind of
especially
a scam,
the shoes.
Especially if you have made a deal to purchase a pair of shoes.
If some Egyptian guy tells you he has shoes for sale, you
just can't get them because maybe they don't even exist anymore. Sharif. No, I'm joking around. He said,
I mean, I wear the shoes.
John, shout out thank you for the super chat here, John. 10 minutes to go to the imbalances. What do you think of Grab? This is for you. I haven't looked at Grab in a hot minute, like forever. And then a couple of people are saying WW with exclamation marks. I don't know what your thoughts are on Grab, but I'm actually going to get out at this local lower high here on Amazon. I just feel like we're rolling over a bit and we're trending back into the downside. And WW, I said if it happened late, if it went late, I might still take it. Well, it just dropped in the other direction. It just lost VWAP on a big hammer. I haven't heard anything, but it kind of makes you wonder, like this was cruising and then just lost a bit. I don't know if something just happened at WW, but it was running out of steam on volume anyways. So volume weighted average price gone. Did I even pay for locates here? I'm not even sure I did. Oh, I did. Oh, okay. I did pay for locate. So if this closes under VWAP, I might take a shot at this short for the first time today. What doesn't go up, in theory, should then go down. So kind of a volume spike there, losing it through the volume weighted average price. If this bar closes under VWAP, I might take a shot. Just the first salvo. Only been long WW. And Charlie Card, yes, my VWAP settings are default, and my data starts at, I believe, 6 a.m. So like the volume weighted average price on my chart just starts from 6 a.m., which is that's the bigger factor, right? Because some people might have their data starting at different times. Obviously, pre-market volume is not going to be huge on most things, so it doesn't matter too much there. I have VWAP as about 78.5 cents here.
Okay. There goes Tesla again, 289. So there's the break. It did have that little dip down, and now it's just absolutely Rip City one more time. Upside there for Tesla. Everything else is working well for us. 50 cents in the money for Google. Palantir, we've actually really emptied it out now. It looks like we'll probably get stopped out. I'm not sure. As the market goes one way and Google comes back in. Oh, we got another fill. Oh, no, this is just coming down. All right. Let's put this stopped out right now. We're not... I hope that, you know, a lot of you have sort of taken what I've been saying here and that we're not really heavy. We're down to 4% left of this trade. So 54.50, we're still, this is where we're long from right here. So getting stopped out right here is fine by moi. 54.50, my stop on this one's 53.29. So I'm canceling my current stop from this fill, 53.29. So this was, again, about 20 cents worth of risk to make about $2. So we got to do better at holding, obviously, but actually we did pretty good this time. 54.50, so I'm just going to put that stop. I'm going to cancel my current stop and then put this in. 54.50, not 34.50, 54.50, nice, yep, nice upside move there. So we'll see if we get stopped out. Palantir and Google, we already have those plans of action as well. Starbucks, MSTR, let's have a quick look at that. I mean, there's been a lot of traders obviously looking at I almost said MicroStrategy strategy on a day like today where, you get a move in IBIT, which is flat-ish, I thought maybe earlier. Yeah, so flat-ish, up 0.6 right now, and really, look what IBIT's doing, right? And then you go over and you see what MSTR, although it is barcoding, it's a much more aggressive move. And so, we've talked about this. Joe's here as well. A lot of traders believing in Bitcoin proper, but a lot of traders also using the levered ETF MSTR right now to buy Bitcoin and to, appreciate in value much quicker than that of Bitcoin. But to believe and to trust in strategy is Michael Saylor, and you really do hope that, the engineering that they've done with all of these coins doesn't wind up blowing up in their face if you do get a dramatic move one way or the other. So I think liquidation is always a little bit of a fear, but there's been much research done on, what would happen. And he said they're not selling anything until basically the cows come home, which is sub 50,000, even
they're
more
like
than
ways
that.
away from anything.
Yeah, so they don't need to worry about that capital raise or anything, because when you're borrowing money at 3% a year, let's just say, and getting this kind of a return in one day, as long as the crypto story stays intact, then strategy should continue to work. And with more companies like a Tesla and all that, they own this on their ledger. Crypto. So plus we have the Bitcoin reserve is another key factor here. So yeah, I mean, especially if Donald Trump runs, of course, for a third term, then that Bitcoin reserve probably still keeps pumping a little bit, right?
Could happen.
So it could happen, that is for sure. Well, no, I don't think it could happen, but
it is possible. It requires a 2/3. It's very unlikely because you're not getting 2/3 of Congress, so it would.
He's not even getting 1/3 maybe. But right into there, 195. Well, just because people might want to change after 3 more years, but we'll see. And plus, then he would be also 82 years old, which.
The oldest president.
Right, so he's already, as Adara just mentioned there, the oldest there. So there goes Google. Google's 65 cents in the money. And Palantir, what happened, man? It didn't stop out? Palantir should have stopped out. Oh, 115.70 stop out. We did change our stop out because we're light on that. So 115.70, new stop out for Palantir, well under the 50-period moving average. We only have 20% left of this position, so we did change it a little bit lower because of these ebbs and flows. But what we lose here in Palantir, we make on making in spades here on Google. So a little bit of a long and short hedge there, not necessarily working out the greatest. Our TQs did not break, so that's nice as we hold out for this. Response about imbalances, sure. Let me have a quick look here. Neil mentioned AMCR, some sort of an imbalance happening the next couple of days. DMN, the halted name today. 3 billion shares not reopening. BAC bids, more bids than sells here. And yesterday we did get an upside move. IonQ.
What's with this
quantum name?
What's with the gorilla talk in the chat? Someone explain why.
Harambe?
Somebody asked if 100. First they said, would 100 men take 1 gorilla? Then someone said 25 Shans, 10 Neils, 5 Adaras, 30 Sharifs, and 30 Josephs would take 10 gorillas. No. I mean, you have any idea? I don't know why people are asking. You ever seen a gorilla, bro? I don't know, but I keep seeing it in the chat.
I mean, why do we have to worry about gorilla? I mean, honestly, we talk about the most craziest things on this show all the time. I think more gorilla talk is probably good.
No, I'm just simply, because we had this conversation with, it was a while back.
Ongoing meme question.
Oh, it's a meme question?
There we go.
So that's a meme? No, the gorilla's destroying everybody. Unless you have a gun? If I have a weapon, maybe we got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, a pissed off gorilla, it's not, as far as I know.
Running's not an option? What do you even do?
I mean, there's those stories about that chimpanzee, absolutely ripping people's faces off. And it was
the relative strength,
scary.
You could forget about it. It's one of those situations where you just better pray that you're not the slowest person in the group. You know what I mean? Which I'm glad to say I'm healed enough that that wouldn't be a problem. That wouldn't be a problem for me anymore. But so I am.
The gorilla will catch Joe.
Sharif would try to play with the gorilla because he's into that. He's into the whole
100 men
wildlife. I'll walk with a lion and all that nonsense. I did take WW in here and it did hold underneath VWAP. It kind of tagged 70. I have 76 short. Kind of tagged 77 and then tagged 74, which I took some out, and then now is catching a bit of a bid. So I got a couple of pennies on it, but I don't want to risk more than like 2 cents on this thing, or maybe 2.5, 3. It'll break out. Sebastian, no, Sharif can't take a gorilla, okay? Like, it's nobody's doing it.
Sharif?
No, it doesn't matter how big or strong you are.
It says in a direct
It'll
fight
rip
with
you
no
apart.
weapons, 100, this is from ChatGPT,
Okay,
100 unarmed men could likely defeat a gorilla, but at a serious cost. So it says an average silverback will weigh about 400 pounds. Their body strength is estimated to be about 9 times stronger than a human. He will tear off limbs and bite with 1,300 pounds per square inch, which is crazy, with surprising agility. So there will be serious injuries and deaths, but the verdict is 100 men could defeat a gorilla, but it would be brutal, chaotic, and costly. It would take out many men before being overwhelmed.
You know what my problem with that is? If it's 100 dudes, but like they're all like crazy and willing to fight.
Oh, right,
death
right.
fights,
There's 100
then
UFC guys.
Yes. But if it's just 100 regular people, get out of here with this nonsense. Because most of them are going to be too timid to do anything and just curl up and die. Because that's the natural response to a 400-pound killer. Let's go to Adara.
Just hearing in my ear, apparently Trump is signing that auto-related executive order with regards to auto tariffs. Also, apparently Donald Trump has basically said that he would veto a bipartisan Senate resolution that would end the tariffs if it passes Congress. Apparently, according to a USA, the Senate is set to vote on this resolution on Wednesday. So again, just to recap, tomorrow we're set to have the Senate vote on a resolution to the Trump tariff situation. Donald Trump's already said that he's going to veto this resolution, which is actually bipartisan, but the resolution would actually end up ending the April 2nd tariffs. Trump going to veto it anyway, though, but worth noting either way. That's happening. Imbalances are also happening. I'm going to have that in my ear and watch out for the Senate vote tomorrow.
291 Tesla.
Tesla is off. You know what thing is that the real question should be, though, how many gorillas does it take to defeat one Chuck Norris? I mean, that would be really the question that we'd all need to ask. I think gorillas run the other way. The gorillas see Chuck Norris. They gone. I don't even care if they're gorillas in the wild.
No.
Ain't no man standing up to Chuck Norris. But there it goes, man. Palantir, nice upside move. Good thing we didn't get stopped out, and we did increase that just a little bit. And there we go, man. There she blows. The missed opportunity of the day. So I'm going to stop a fail and another fail and another fail and another fail on myself because I had meant to take that 287 break long, and I just didn't put the trade in. So, you know, whatever. We'll talk about it, but that was a good trade. We got the news. There goes Tesla, and there it's a huge move upside through that 287, and there's 291. This opens up greater than $300 tomorrow. I'm almost certain of that. Let's wait to see, though. It's not even taking that big of a move to get over 300. This thing touches 3 bills tomorrow. Mark my word on that. We might not even be able to trade 300 long. This thing could be over $300, by the way, tomorrow happens. It just takes one upgrade or something crazy like that. There's a lot of traders that are short this right now against $300, and trust me, this level right here on a daily, trust me, bro. You know, this name is going to run once we're above that $300. It'll get squeezed higher. You could see 320 tomorrow by end of week. What day is tomorrow? Wednesday, end of week for sure. That's how positive I want to feel on Tesla. Google, thank you so much, man. It was created such a great trading experience here this afternoon. Traded it real well. I didn't look at any of the imbalances, to be honest with you.
No, it's... Look, NVIDIA is a small buy. There was nothing worth saying. NVIDIA is a small buy of 1.8 million. This AMC, just so AMCR is it's big, 23 million shares to sell. I'm going to look just to double check for myself because I'm 99% sure that this is a share increase tomorrow on the MSCI USA, and it's supposed to be like 40 million. So it's a gigantic, buy imbalance.
Buy imbalance,
Yes,
right.
the share increase. It's supposed to be a big buy imbalance tomorrow. So you'd think this might have a chance of getting paired off and an opportunity to do it today, as there's 22 million to sell. I did pull it up to see if there was maybe an obvious trade on a flip. I don't know if it gets to the low, the New York stock. If it gets to the low of the day and then that flips or pairs down to almost nothing, I might take a long off the bottom on this. But 22 million to the sell side. I just punched out of Intel when there was no imbalances and it was no longer moving. So I got like 2048 or something on the VWAP short. And then Weight Watchers, or WW we're supposed to be calling it, just kind of hanging out at 75. So I'm just going to scalp out of this. And I don't know if it has a big flush in it. The big flush was to get through VWAP. Now it's just going like a cent and a half at a time. So if that's what you got to take, that's what you got to take. Like it just held at 74.5 oddly enough. Like, it can't even break that. So maybe you have to take some out at 75. Like, it might only give you like 1.5 cents. I think this will be in play tomorrow. It did 500 million shares today. I don't see why it can't give you a little salvo again tomorrow. But no big flush here. I'm just going to scalp out in the first couple of pennies and then move on over to that AMCR. Because I do think, like, if it can trend down to the low on that sell imbalance and then go from like 22 million even to like 4 or 5, that would be enough to get a nice little spike on AMCR. But yeah, for now, still a 22 million sell imbalance.
Yeah, we'll cover at the high of the day. So what is the money trade there on the TQs, the end of the day? Good little recovery there at the close as the imbalances do spike us higher. NASDAQ going to go out near the high of the day. So wow, giddy up for that one, man. I mean, anybody that was long here into the afternoon, that was a great trade. I mean, a lot of it was led by Tesla. End our Google trade, bye-bye. As that imbalance happened, we got out there at 30s. Now it's at 23, so that wasn't great. And then also a nice, there it goes, Google flipping over and getting lower. More out Palantir, 116.20 right now for that. And we will close out all of our trades and throw over to Adara right now.
Show is brought to you by Trade the Pool. We all know the saying, big opportunity comes with big risk. But what if that wasn't true anymore? Trade the Pool is redefining what risk means for traders. No more risking your life savings to prove yourself in the market. They give you access to company capital, up to $200,000 to trade real stocks, no CFDs, and your downside is limited to a single one-time fee starting at just $47. That means no blowing up your personal account, and you get to trade with serious buying power, all while knowing your loss is capped. Trade the Pool now offers unlimited time during the evaluation. You get the freedom to trade your way with no time pressure. Visit tradethepool.com. See how far your $47 can take you. Back to you.
That should be a $5. I mean, I wouldn't be in it too many shares, but that should be a $5 winner in the account, or at least 3 or 4. There, I mean, there it goes. You know, you probably get out of that 287. Wow, I can't believe that looks like this. And we were just like, it's barcoding. But there's the break. Look, I mean, thank you, Tia, for your comment there in the chat as well. Look, I mean, it was a great opportunity there, missed, but there's 293. So, like, I was not joking about 3 bills, obviously. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening there with the play. I'm just going to get out now of Palantir, so that ends that trade. I'm not going to wait. We get out where we get in. Obviously a good trade there today. I can see on the net. Good trade there for Palantir. Tesla goes. SoFi, where does that end up? 1330. Wow. SoFi, like, I mean, it's been lower than this today, but it's going to go out at the lows. So that is yucky there for SoFi because, you know, it being up 7 or 8% early and then giving it all back, you know, we can't be very happy as investors as that comes all the way back in for SoFi there today. So bad earnings, good earnings, bad day one. Earnings. Now, I said I think SoFi gets bought up tomorrow, so I'm going to stick.
It's done this before.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with that thought as well. And then, look, man, not that I called anything. I just think Starbucks, interesting. It's going to be an interesting report. I want to see that pin action on that.
I want 5.7 up.
Okay, so Neil's got 5. Okay, so 5.7 for Neil. I'm at 11.
Be specific.
Yeah, that's okay. We're going to see. And I'm just going to take it for basically where it.
The close?
Tomorrow's close? No,
today's close to tomorrow's close. Is that?
No, I don't want to do the close. I
to
but tomorrow's open.
Today's close.
Because SoFi, like, if you guessed 7 or 8% on SoFi, you would have been right. It's just like the day is what the day is. So, yeah, all right. So nice movement there at the end of the day. There's been some good trades, including Tesla today, with a top to bottom of 279 to 293. So when you look at it, it doesn't look huge, but it's that last end of day $10 push there on Tesla that created some action. So 405 is Visa, 405 is Starbucks, 405 is Booking, 405 is FSLR for solar today. 410 is Snap, 410 is Mondelez. 4:15 is Brian Shannon. So we'll have him coming on as well, and we'll talk all about that. So 2 minutes left. Let's see what winds up happening here. Palo Alto gets a deal with AT&T, so I have no idea what that is. No, it's not. Just see it now. Must have been today earlier, up 3%. That's nice to see for Palo Alto. Again, another best of breed name in the cybersecurity space. That has to be respected, man. I like that space a lot. CrowdStrike, another name.
Crowd's held up really well. Well, relatively speaking. Yeah. Decently well. That thing is not pairing off. CrowdStrike is actually stone's throw from the highs. 52-week highs. Yeah. Like stone's throw, meaning like a couple of percentage points. I can't believe this imbalance isn't pairing on AMCR. Like it's still 18 million to the sell side. It's only done 95 million a day. The only reason, like the crazy thing is I'm looking to go long if it flips. It's not flipping. I should just take my hands off the keys before I hit the buy on the stock with a 17 million sell imbalance. So yeah, it's supposed to be a buy tomorrow, but you can see the reason this is not dropping is because I think they're pairing it off. But if there's no flip, I'm not taking a flip in the last minute. That's a little bit too crazy, unfortunately. A lot of people have been asking about SMCI in particular. I just cancel my Weight Watchers stop because I don't need it because we got profit on it. SMCI, low of day. I said this before. If the market's at the high at the end of the day, bull flag, and you're at the low, something's a little bit broken, and it's not good. Down 3% on SMCI. Well, it's down 3%. It has resistance at 38 bucks, and it's a small move, but exactly what you got to look for. We have a key that I haven't hit in a long time. Yeah, SMCI is a flat bottom break at 35. It's about 35.40 tomorrow. This kind of relative weakness, overhead resistance. It's down when the market's up. The chips, in the general sense, the chips were relatively weak compared to a lot of other things. It's hard to feel good about this stock. I know I always want stocks to go up. I'm never cheering. You short-term trade and you day trade. You short things. That's what happens. In a long-term sense, I'm always cheering for everyone to make money and for stocks to go up. But this just looks really weak relatively today, and I'd be looking for a continuation breakdown. We got 10 seconds to the bell, and I don't have to hit anything because it's all automated. I used the force this morning to compel somebody to get up on time, but we don't have to because ring it right now, Adara. This market is closed, and in 5 minutes, you're going to get a bunch of earnings names coming through. We're expecting to have Starbucks, among others. That's the one everyone's making bets on. Don't sleep on First Solar. That can be a mover. Snapchat, we know, can be a mover. That was absolutely flying today, up almost 4% today for Snapchat, breaking the 50 period on the daily. So there's going to be a few out there that are definitely worth our interest. Shout out, of course, always shout out to Fabian and Ramin. Make us look and make us sound good. Can't do it without you. Great day today for the midday boys, Joey Options and Sharif, despite the fact that he still hasn't delivered the shoes that we're supposed to get. That's fine, Sharif. He can bring them tomorrow or the day after. I'm getting my shoes. We're bronzing them up, and we're putting them in front of his station so he doesn't forget about it. But it's going to be a wild one. You got a host of earnings names. You've got the desk. You've got whether or not we'll see what I like 5.7% on Starbucks. Sean likes 11%. Everyone's putting their bets in. We'll see what happens with Starbucks and a host of other earnings names. We've got Adara at the desk. You got Brian Shannon coming on through. Should be a good one. And Caesar is apparently also reporting. So let's get the market recap going because it should be an entertaining one. Sit back and relax. Your market recap starts now.
Yeah, you're in good hands. Thank you, Neil, for that one. Sit back and relax, and we'll talk about what the market had for us today, some news stories that had dropped, potential news stories that will drop over the next half hour. And then we have Brian Shannon from @AlphaTrends, and, of course, anchored VWAP fame, Brian Shannon, our weekly guest, coming very, very soon. Get your questions ready. Adara and myself, if we see them, or Bears vs. Bulls, let us know what those look like. But here's Caesars Entertainment out right now, not really doing too much, up and down. We'll wait to see there. Oh, now down goes Caesars to the downside. And again, we wait for Starbucks. We wait for a few more names as we go. Caesars right now, if you come over to the screen, it is going now down to the downside. I didn't even realize this today. MSOS, man, marijuana stocks really got blazing there in the middle of the day with a nice little upside move there, up 7%, leading the way today. Down for USO today, so oil downside there, play for oil today, so that's kind of not great. The NASDAQ sort of got lifted near the end of the day. It wasn't all Tesla related there, Adara, but we got the auto story where I think it was sort of an easing back on some of those tariffs, and we've seen Tesla break that nice upside move and still trying to go here in the after hours. I think this name has a $300 handle on it, and I had talked to Brian about this for a minute as well. Nobody liked it, and when nobody likes it, it means we're going the other way. All right, here comes Booking Holdings. So we are now out now for Booking. Looks like it will be a slight little miss there on Booking Holdings. What we were looking for on this name was 1720 EPS. So we'll get that going on right now. It looks like it's a downside move. I'm hearing
Solar.
I'm hearing a beat in my ear, but we do have First Solar right now. So FSLR, let's have, whoa, we said we were not going to buy this one. And it's a good thing we did it because Adara, First Solar's going lower. Are those numbers out yet?
They are, yeah. So we have earnings of $1.95 per share versus estimates of $2.50. That is decidedly a miss. Net income here also a miss. Revenue, though, slightly above estimates, $844.6 million versus $839.3 million expected. Operating income below estimates, pre-tax profit coming in here as well. Let's talk about their guidance. So here we are. So EPS guidance $12.50 to $12.70 versus their previous guidance of $17 to $20. So again, they lowered their guidance from 17 to 20 to $12.50 to $17.50. So the low end or the high end of their new guidance used to be the old end of their old guidance. That's never a great look. The market reacting in kind. I'm not seeing anything on BKNG yet.
All right.
We're also looking for Starbucks and Visa at any time.
We also get Corvo here. So Corvo might be another good read on the semiconductor index. Again, these guys provide power supplies, so on and so forth, different infrastructure to semis and to getting them matched up there. And right here, Corvo, nice move to the upside right now as that's starting to get a little bit higher. Good guide, right? They see between 50 to 75 with an estimate of 59 cents. So that's really good. Also increasing their guide for revenues. So that's so far so good there for Corvo, a nice move higher right now as we get going. So just quickly, Booking Holdings. I mean, I'm just trying to do all the names that have decent market cap. So right there, Corvo, 6.23 billion. BKNG tonight. Oops. BKNG, there it is, Booking Holdings, small, actually $153 billion market cap. Okay, that's huge. There goes Booking right now to the downside. Remember, this is a $4,000 stock. So it's not that we're, going to be trading it, but it's interesting to see about the travel space, exactly that as well. I mean, looking at names like Carnival Cruise Lines and so on and so forth, we'll be able to figure out where that one goes.
Trump tariff, China.
Oh, Trump tariff, China. Okay, what does that mean exactly?
He said China will probably eat those tariffs. So I guess he's expecting China to pay for the tariffs. That's coming here out of Donald Trump. I think there's a link.
Who else is going to pay for the tariffs?
Oh, yeah,
right?
He's speaking right now in Michigan earlier than we thought. So I'm going to be plugging in right now and listening to our friend Trump talking about, this hasn't started yet. It's supposed to start at the same time we get Snapchat earnings, 4:10 p.m.
Don't be rude.
Oh, sorry, Trump. My apologies.
What was that?
I will listen. I promise I will be listening to your speech. That's supposed to start in about 4 minutes.
What did that say? Donkey something?
Don't be rude.
Oh, don't be rude. Was that us that did that?
Rude.
Okay, so that was it. All right, so it looks like Starbucks right now looks to be out, and maybe it's 11% the other way. I don't know. I don't know if it's out yet. This is not a dramatic move. It's just a move right now. Someone did fat finger that down to $80. Right now, 83 and change.
They're out.
Okay, so the earnings now are out for Starbucks. So let's go. Mondelez also out. Just quickly, MDLZ. Let's have a quick look over there. So Mondelez going one way. It looks like higher. Starbucks. And again, I wanted to buy this thing at $80. It looks like that was the exact bottom. Starbucks not doing much right now. But what were the numbers like?
I still don't have bookings numbers here, but Starbucks I do have, and it is not great. Starbucks Q2 adjusted earnings of 41 cents per share. That is below estimates of 49 cents. Revenue, 8.8 billion, below estimates of 8.82 billion. So again, that's a double miss here for SBUX. Global comparable sales down 1% versus a expected decline of about 0.25%. So they declined about 4 times the expectation. China actually flat, though, for comparable sales. So that's pretty good because China sales were an issue. North America comparable sales, 1% decline. U.S. comparable sales, 2% decline. The best comparable sales number looks like China's flat.
So you would think Starbucks would be down?
They're up, aren't they?
Yeah, they're up. Yep. So there goes Starbucks. Nice move to the upside. Just went to $86. Now we're figuring it out. Looks like Starbucks is going to be flat right now off earnings. The bigger name that's out right now is Visa. So Visa just comes out a $600 billion name. Is this the next $1 trillion company? Visa right now looking to get higher. I mean, that's kind of, I don't think it's going to be there. It has to get at least higher than where we've been to get there. But right now, Visa above the 50-period moving average, above the 200-period moving average, and there it comes. Visa now out and flat on the day for Visa. It looks like we get 276 versus 268 and a beat on sales as well.
Yeah, I have all.
So Visa right now kind of flat. Let's check back in on Starbucks real quick. Missed everywhere, but I think the Chinese number being flat was good, but here it comes back in. We already talked about buying this name at $80. That was the low of that move. So there's $80. We bounce off that. Someone did, not fat finger, but an algo comes in, $80.50 is the bottom of that play there today. So a couple, plays. Mondelez, we didn't go over those numbers. Mondelez International, nice move up to $66 and still trying to get there. 65.58 right now as well. And then just to talk about that Trump with China, I thought there was a deal. Hundreds of deals waiting in the pipeline, and now apparently China can shove the tariffs where, according to Donald Trump. We'll figure that out. And I guess, look, China's not going to do that. Everything's going to get passed on to the consumer at the end of the day. We saw what happened when Amazon almost did that. Man, those little bursts are going to scare me, my guy, right there, but I do like it. But yeah, we saw what happened with Amazon earlier today when they got cranked there to the downside when they were talking about
more trade talk.
Posting that. Yeah, we're going to get that trade talk in 1 second. There was Amazon on trade talk, again, that they were going to put up the tariffs on their website on Hall, and then they said, nah, as soon as, the White House came out and was basically slapping them on the wrist for that, all the way to the upside. All right, Adair, what's the news now?
Well, we have Treasury Secretary Bessent talking here, saying that no trade deals are done until Trump announces them because he has about 18 trade deals he needs to sign.
These guys are a bunch of losers,
he is involved
honestly.
in talks. We know also, we heard Lutnick say that an unidentified country had a prepared deal, but they couldn't go forward until this unidentified country signed things, and that would, quote unquote, happen soon. I have not seen anything on booking holdings for the numbers, but I can go over some Mondelez here if I can find. There we go, Mondelez. Q1 adjusted earnings of 74 cents per share, beating estimates of 66. Net income, $402 million. They're guiding fiscal revenue growth, revenue growth for fiscal 2025 of about 5%. That was MDLZ. We already went over Visa. We went over Starbucks. And yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and watch out here and find out what Trump says because he is set to speak. Snapchat, though, should be snapping up here some earnings attention in a second. Let me check here on Benzinga. I keep putting an M instead of an N because they're right next to each other on the keyboard. Snapchat earnings are out, Sean. So net loss improving by 54% year over year. Daily active users growing 9% year over year. First quarter revenue up 14% year over year. So revenue, 1.363 million for, 1.363 billion here, above estimates of 1.35 bill. That's a beat. Adjusted EBITDA here of 108 million versus 64.7 million expected.
Whoa.
Active users up. Tons of great numbers here. SNAP, this is a really good look. And then we have Scott Bessent also saying that there's a plan for changes to auto tariffs. We keep hearing about this auto tariff executive order. So
what a surprise.
I don't think anyone knows really what's happening here with the auto tariffs.
Yeah, it's bad when nobody knows, including the people that are pretending to know. I mean, that's what I was saying when I was talking about that. It's a clown show right now. It's just there's all this reporting, and we're lucky to have Adara here. So the thing is, she's reporting everything that she's hearing, whether or not, it's actually making mainstream or not. At some point, these things are going to come to fruition. And look, I've already said this. I think, regrouping here, what Trump's been doing as far as the tariffs are concerned, I don't think it's that bad. It's just how it's being managed, how the public is finding out about all of this. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, look, we've been getting taken advantage of as a country as far as trade is concerned. If that's what you believe, that's fine. I mean, I'd be fine if our prime minister wound up saying that and wanted to address it. It's just in the matter of how it's going. We have a deal, we don't. We have 18, we have 17. We have all of the deals, but yet not signing any of them. So it's just like, when's it going to come to an end? And it's all over the place right now. It just adds frustrations, but it gives great trading opportunities. So let's not, count our chickens before they hatch here. I think we've all taken advantage of the volatility, and it's been a great time to trade. Just frustrating trying to trade off of these reports because it just keeps going back and forth, You either should release something or not. All this back and forth seems to be a little frustrating. But, snap, crackle, and temporary pop. I mean, we went up there to 989 as Adara was releasing those numbers as soon as we came in, and then boom, now we've come in all the way, and now we're creating lows. So I'm actually going to zoom back out into a 3-minute chart just to give us a little bit of a better look on the daily. On after today, because we had some decent moves today. There goes Snapchat completely turning on a dime right now, getting up to $10, now falling back and getting absolutely crushed right now. Downside goes Snapchat.
We have booking.
Okay, yeah, you have the booking numbers. Okay, but again, another $4,000 name. But there goes Snapchat, 850 and looking lower on the daily. Snapchat 850. Again, we'll have to review those numbers, but not looking great as we continue to make a little lower there on Snapchat. All right, why don't we go over booking, because right now it is a pretty decent move to the downside. Although this is a $5,000 name, you're down to 4,700. So you're giving back about 5 or 6% here on Booking Holdings. What does it look like?
It took a while for Booking to come out. I also want to mention SNAP. The numbers were actually pretty solid across the board, but they said they're quote, don't intend to share formal guidance for fiscal Q2 due to uncertainty of macroeconomic conditions. So them deciding not to share guidance is the one kind of negative or mixed thing I'm seeing in this report. Booking Holdings is actually really solid. 22% year-over-year increase in adjusted earnings per share, $24.81. We were expecting $17.50. So BKNG blew it out of the water. Revenue, $4.76 billion versus estimates of $4.59 billion. That's up at 8% year-over-year. Gross bookings, 7% year-over-year. Adjusted EBITDA up 21% year-over-year. Room nights booked, 319 million. So 319 million room nights were booked versus estimates of 316 million. That's up 7% year-over-year. I contributed at least a couple of those nights. Shout out to BKNG.
Nice.
Free cash flow up 23% year-over-year. Net cash from operating activities, 21% year-over-year increase. Adjusted fixed operating expenses down about 3% year-over-year. Their gross agency bookings are also down 13% year-over-year. But generally, like the top and bottom line numbers are stellar. If we're parsing through to find minutia to criticize here, you know it's a pretty good report for BKNG.
Yeah, good one there. A little down 3-4%, but decent report there as we'll wait to see where it goes from here. Seagate Technologies, again, data storage, right? It's nice to see that some of these tech names, we can look for Micron and some of these sort of secondary names. It looks like Seagate right now with a nice report. I'm surprised we didn't have this one. Again, when we go through some of the reviews, we just take the top market cap names, but I do know that Seagate is an interesting one. 18.3 billion market cap right now with a nice move up 5 and a bit % as STX right now beating on the top and the bottom, 220 versus 260 with the forward guide and guiding more sales. So that's going to be a good number for STX coming out today.
Can we go for Visa again as well?
Sure. Actually, just before I do that. So Seagate Technologies actually EPS 190, missing 209. Sales 2.16, missing 2.31. So the quarter, this just goes to that point. We could talk to Brian about this, but all of you guys that trade around earnings, when you release earnings, we saw it with Tesla. The numbers don't really matter. That is in the rear view. Seagate goes higher moving forward. So they miss top and bottom, but still get a 6% bump due to, again, the forward guide. Okay, so what were those numbers you wanted to go over again?
So what happened here is Visa. Yeah,
Visa.
We did have Sean mention it, but I'll go over it in case anybody missed it. There was a double beat for V. So they had adjusted earnings of $2.76 per share, above estimates of $2.68. Sales, $9.59 billion versus estimates of $9.55 billion. I put that in the chat as well. But yeah, Scott Bassett still looks like talking some more as well. They have to take into account China's failure to keep commitments in Trump's first term phase 1 trade agreement. So I guess now they're considering these trade agreements to be a larger part from Trump's first administration. So lots of talk on tariffs as always. But I'd love to pause because I believe we have time for a special guest right now.
Yeah, we do. We have. We've been waiting this for a week. Every Tuesday, we are joined by Mr. Brian Shannon. Let's bring him in. It's Trader Talk. Okay, Brian, how are you doing today? It's another Tuesday and another wild day, it seems like, in the markets, and a bunch of earnings coming through right now. How was your day? Did you put anything on? What are you looking at? And I want to talk about the SPY being north of 550 and what your opinion is on that. But how was the day? Did you do anything?
I did, yeah. So it was mainly day trades again here today. I just have been more in the day trade mode. The strength of this market has really surprised me that it continues to go through key levels, and we're making it through those. So I'm not going to short it as it's rising, but I haven't trusted it. And truthfully, I was maybe a little bit less aggressive than I should have been. I think that I was, thinking we were going to have more of those gaps that we saw pretty much every day,
Right.
the 2 and 3% gaps in either direction. So I've been a little bit more conservative than the current market would indicate I should have been, but that's what adhering to your discipline is all about. So I can't really complain about it, Sean.
Yeah, no, and I mean, here's on the SPY, there's that 550 level that we had talked about, and we're still there, right? I mean, I don't think it's really necessarily giving it up or giving us the right answers yet, but I think you're right. Very smooth and orderly. We have 1 or 2, 3 days in a row of 1.5% or more. Maybe this can explain a little bit. I wanted to ask you about this. This was one of your tweets that you'd put out, was it? Yes? No, this was a while ago, on all time frames for market distribution. So where are we in this, and can we explain what exactly this is? I want everyone to go follow at Alpha Trends immediately on Twitter, one of the better follows for sure. What do you think about what's going on right here? This goes back obviously a few days and few months and few weeks, but where are we and what exactly are we looking at when we find this on your feed?
So what we're looking at is really just the cyclical nature of the way money flows through the markets. The 4 stages that Stan Weinstein popularized and was, originally written about by Wyckoff. That is the accumulation when the market is just kind of going sideways, rebuilding after a decline. Then the stage 2 uptrend, we're making higher highs and higher lows. Markets are innocent till proven guilty.
Right.
And, the thing there with the weather below it is that, just like the weather, it doesn't,
Right.
it's just not one day where summer and then we're into fall. There's a transition period. I guess fall into winter would be a better example. It's not like fall just ends and all of a sudden we get a blizzard and it doesn't let up until the first day of spring. So it's a transition. And when we're in that transition, the moving averages are crisscrossing. So think of the SPY and like the 50-day and the 200-day moving average.
Right.
That represents indecision. Then when we make lower highs and lower lows below those moving averages, we're in decline and guilty till proven innocent. Right. I still think we're in decline overall, but we're getting a good bounce. If we look at the weekly chart there, Sean, of the SPY,
Yep.
then, you go back and look at where we were just, a couple years ago, and that we were coming out of a bearish environment, and then we, went sideways and went higher again. So we are still in the downtrend on the bigger time frame,
Yep.
but we can't get confused and let that blind us on the shorter term time frame. When we're above that rising 5-day moving average, we're innocent until proven guilty. So we have mixed messages, and that's the thing, is that we're in a longer term possible bear market still.
Yep.
And intermediate term, we're showing higher highs and higher lows. So you can't short it while it's showing this type of strength.
Brian, you actually made me feel a little bit better now that I looked at a weekly chart here of the SPY. Yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, it was bad a couple weeks ago, of course, but now with that reclaim there, maybe it looks like we're getting a little bit nicer for the longs, as you had mentioned. All right, Tesla, I do want to talk to you about this because you and I have sort of gone back and forth, and we talk about stocks being in or out of the penalty box. So with the Maple Leafs right now going for tonight, they're up 3-1 against the Ottawa Senators. We're looking to win, finally move on here in Toronto. It's a big talking point. Is Tesla finally out of the penalty box here? As for me, it looks like we're starting to climb up. We've now really reacted quite positively off of the earnings report. That wasn't that great, but we still get the momentum to the upside. We've took out here, if we look at the daily, we've took out the 200, or we're right at the 200 period moving average now on a daily, and firmly above 270, which is where the 50 period is. And I zoom in and I try to find this because Brian Shannon's told me that I'm looking for this to curl up. I want this 50 period to start curling up. So maybe we start to do that. Is there anything that you've dug in? Any thoughts here on Tesla? And are we still in the vaunted penalty box?
Here's what I'd like to do is show you my chart, Sean.
Perfect.
You've got that there. So this is one. Let's just look at this line here, because this is where we saw a death cross, right? Isn't that funny how that works? Is that was down here at 250, and here we are 20% higher. So, that's a marketing term, death cross on that. But what we have here, Sean, you mentioned, the direction of the 50-day moving average is declining. This line right here is where we were 50 days ago. So if we look about 5-6 days in advance, if we look into next week, as that line moves forward and we get rid of this data data right in here over the next 6 days and replace it with data over here. Let's say we get a little bit of a pullback from the 200-day moving average. We come down and test the 50, and then we start to rally. Well, then we're getting rid of this data. Then we've got a rising 50-day moving average that'll likely come up through the 200-day moving average in a couple weeks, and we'll get a golden cross. And by the time it does its golden cross, it'll probably be up near 320, 330. So what I'd really like to see here is we had a great run off of earnings from 2.25 to 300 basically. So if we pull back in the next 5 to 6 days, that 50-day moving average flattens out, we make a higher low, and then you buy it for the next move higher up in towards that 320-ish or so.
Thank you so much here for being with us, Brian. We know it's been a really volatile market. It feels like there's a new news headline, a new take on the story every 2 seconds. Amazon today was a really good example. So I know you're doing more swing trading or longer term holds than day trading, but do you have any advice here on how to set stops if someone is going to get involved in a stock? Should the parameters set up? Do you widen the stops? Do you change any of your entry or exit parameters with that in mind? Do you take profit earlier? Anything like that?
Yeah, Dara, that's a great question. And I have not traded Palantir as a swing trade, but I've been telling people that, when you're in a stock like Palantir, what you do is you look at the direction of the 5-day moving average and you look at the higher lows and say, as long as it's making these higher lows, raise your stop up underneath those higher lows. I'm not long the Russell 2000, but this is kind of what I've been outlining for people as well. We have these higher lows. So we're coming into these key zones like the anchor from the year-to-date high on the Russell 2000, that's that red line, and the 50-day moving average, but we're still showing these higher lows. So raise your stop up under those higher lows if you're in for a swing trade, and then be sure to move to the sidelines before the whole thing unravels again, potentially. I'm not calling that, but that's what we need to protect ourselves against and, make sure we're locking in those gains.
All right, thank you, Brian, for that one. I saw a post, and you had talked a little bit about an anchored VWAP with Ethereum. So I actually have an Ethereum chart up right now. It's not a bar chart. It's just, trying to show us where this is from CoinGecko, where we've come from. It looks like this base right here at 1.5K may be something to look at as we get a psychological bottom, but we've had quite a nice fall from grace, man. I mean, at the beginning of the year, we were up and around that $4,000 mark, down to 1.5. So I'd actually had noted here, I'll get rid of, how do I get rid of this? I'll figure, there it goes, thank you. See you, CoinGecko. I had noted here that you'd post about how well it supported the AVWAP with Coinbase. So how did you find that relationship, and what do we want to talk about as far as Ethereum, if anything?
Sure. On that one, Sean, it was pretty crazy that if you go back on Ethereum, not Solana, if you go back on Ethereum, what I was pointing out is since the inception on Coinbase, so it first started trading on Coinbase back here in May of 2016, right here. So if you put an anchor on that, you see that we were above it for a little bit. It held as resistance and then support back here in 2022. And then we just came down and just absolutely nailed it just recently. And that was pretty much the exact low of this move right here, the anchor since inception. I didn't buy it there, Sean. I bought it. I wasn't trusting it. I was thinking, this is one of those times it's going to test it, but I'm not going to be the guy who buys it on the first bounce. I bought some right here and right here. I'm still holding some. I'm thinking we're probably headed towards about 2,200, hopefully. But man, that one was just pretty amazing. Kind of similar to what we saw in I think it was the 30 or was it the 40-year anchor in Intel?
Yes. I was going to ask you about that because I know a lot of your studies obviously have been related around equity. How do you find anchored VWAP as working in the crypto space? I know it's a relatively new space, but you still use anchored VWAPs to judge Bitcoin positions, Ethereum, and obviously Solana and things like that. You find the anchors are working out pretty good with cryptocurrencies as well?
They really have, and when we look at Ethereum, where it looks like it's headed is probably towards some of those anchors from up above. The fact that from the low that we made that touched that on this weekly chart right to the exact penny, pretty much.
Pretty awesome.
If we put an anchor off of that low, you see how that has been respected pretty good. And then we saw a resurgence of volume, and now this volume-weighted average price off that handoff right here has really held beautifully as well. So I think that, you know, in particular in crypto, you don't necessarily have traditional fundamentals. There's no way to value these based on earnings or revenues or that sort of thing. So they tend to trade a little bit more pure based on supply and demand measurements like the anchored VWAP.
Yeah, no, that's a great call, and that's why I was trying to ask you about that, because I knew it was a little bit of a different setup there. And from one, you know, asset class that doesn't have earnings or anything like that, I'm going to give you another one. We had Michael Noss on early on Monday, and I've been sort of calling for gold to maybe retrace a little bit. We'll use GLD here as an example. Michael also on Monday said that it looked like potentially gold had made a top. I mean, if you look at something about the weekly going on here, he was talking about that as well. There's our first decent red candle, potentially signaling a turnaround. And he used something, I forget how he used it or how he talked about it, but he said it was in the CMT world. Whenever we see, you know, headlines on Forbes or Time Magazine that the gold bull is here and this and that, that's generally when we get a retracement. I know you and I have talked about this for various things, like whenever you see Michael Saylor up on, you know, Man of the Year or something like that, you know Bitcoin might retrace. But what do you think about gold? Do you like that sort of a call? And I'm going to ask Michael about this on Friday as well to see how it's been going. But gold down 1% today. I think maybe it's about to turn around. Any quick thoughts on that?
It's still in an uptrend, so I've got to give the benefit of the doubt to the buyers. I'm terrible at calling tops and bottoms. I just proved that again by not calling the bottom in this in the equities market. But you know, I look at it and say, since the day that equities bottomed was the same day that gold had this pullback here, April 7th, and we're holding above the anchored volume-weighted average price from then. So from that standpoint, you know, from this latest move higher, the average buyer is still in a winning position, so they're not likely to sell at a loss. The shorts are the ones who are on the ropes here. We're above a rising 20-day moving average. So, you know, we've still got some pretty strong momentum indicators saying that the buyers are in control. We're going to be seeing that 5-day moving average starting to turn back higher tomorrow as well as we get rid of this data. So if we break like this, I bet you we're going to go squeeze all these early shorts in here.
Yes.
And then maybe, you know, we get kind of like a blow off top and then it starts to decline. But I don't see the signs of a top yet. But again, that's not my specialty, is calling them. I look at it, I'd rather, you know, if I had gold, I have some bullion, but if I was trading gold, I'd still be long, probably against about 298 or so.
Okay, so we'll look at that 298 level. But Brian, this is a live show. I'm going to give you, I got to go to Adair for 1 minute because there's breaking news, but I'm going to come back to you. Give us one name that you've been giving some of your subscribers. I want to hit this animation. Watch this, Brian. Here we go. It's breaking news. All right, Adara, what do we got?
Nice.
We have SMCI earnings, and it's so funny because people in the chat kept saying, "Oh, are they reporting today?" I was not seeing anything that they were reporting, and they weren't supposed to. I checked everywhere. Yeah, it turns out they released an update and preliminary earnings for Q3. They're on fiscal Q3 25. Here are the numbers. Also, Trump just started speaking. So here are the numbers here. Net sales, they're expecting 4.5 to 4.6 billion. Prior guide, $5 to $6 billion.
What?
That's well below their estimates. GAAP diluted earnings per share, 16 to 17 cents versus the prior guidance of 36 to 53 cents. Non-GAAP diluted EPS, 29 to 31 cents versus the prior guidance of 46 to 62 cents. So for all of their major, I guess, metrics here, we are expecting well below the previous guidance. Again, SMCI loves preliminary earnings, so that's all these are. It is also worth noting they said that some delayed customer platform decisions have caused them to delay their sales into Q4. So a lot of their sales are not going to be counted until the next quarter. They also had 220 basis points lower gross margin on a quarter-over-quarter basis. So 220 basis point drop on a quarterly basis for their gross margin. Back to you.
All right, Brian, I mean, there goes SMCI downside. I mean, pulling everything. That's now 20. I don't know if you had some quick thoughts. I know I gave you a little bit of a task there to give me something else, but there's SMCI. This one, Brian, never got out of the penalty box at all. Still under the 50-period moving average. This name has had a really rough year for sure, but coming back in right now, down to $28. We don't like to see preliminary guidance this bad, and it's also taking down other names. I mean, here's NVIDIA down now another 2% in the after hours. NVIDIA was cruising. We're going to have to see how that affects the stock. And this is why we love this business, Brian. You never know at any given time what's going to happen to some of these names. Any thoughts about this move on SMCI or NVIDIA, or pick your poison here?
Yeah, SMCI has kind of been an interesting one that every week I do this show on Sundays, and every single week people ask me about, they want to be long SMCI. And I've been, kind of a downer on this stock because we're below all these key moving averages declining. And I've been saying I just don't understand why people want to own a stock in a downtrend with a declining 200-day moving average that is very similar to the way everyone wanted AMD to turn last year. And it's just been nothing but lower highs and lower lows, and AMD is still broken stock as well.
Right.
So, just focus on the stocks and uptrends to be buyers, because news and surprises tend to follow the direction of the trend. And the primary trend here with a stock below a declining 50 and 200-day moving average, you can't argue the trend is higher.
No, you cannot. Brian, did you get a name for us? Is there one thing? I mean, I know you got, again, great followers there on X. Is there anything you're looking at, anything that maybe you talked about today or looking for in the next coming days?
I think Lockheed is kind of starting to look interesting, Sean.
All right.
You can see I just put the anchor off of that high right there, and that had been some pretty good resistance along the way and continues to be. But what you'll notice is the time between the test of that resistance is getting shorter in between. And as that happens, we're also showing higher lows. So the buyers are getting more aggressive time-wise. They're getting more aggressive price-wise as well. Maybe a little bit of a pullback in here. Then I think that one can get going right up towards that 200-day moving average. So, might have about a 50-point bounce in here or so, but it has to pull back a little bit first and then get going. So I like the way Lockheed's setting up.
Ooh, here we go. Someone has bookmarked one of these pages here. It is page 45. Don't get hung up on time frame. Interesting. This is Maximum Trading Gains with the anchored VWAP. It's Brian, Shannon. Go pick up this book. And this is a brand new bookmark, so it's definitely being read here on the floor. And make sure your handle's been there at Alpha Trends over there on X. Anything you want to talk about that? You have a subscription service. It's absolutely fantastic.
I'm going to New York tomorrow to get that to participate in that awards thing for the educational provider of the year, Sean. So that'll be pretty cool.
Right. Did you get the big W on that one?
I did get the big.
Bang! Yes, sir. All right. That's great.
It'll be interesting to see what comes of that.
Great, absolutely great. I mean, that if that's not a reason to follow this man, then I don't know what is. Again, congratulations on that, and that should be a real fun trip. So travel safe. It's our good friend, Brian Shannon. Thank you so much for joining us one more time, and thank you for all the insights. And again, congratulations on that. That's quite the accomplishment, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Ciao, Brian. Travel well.
Bye.
All right, man, there we go. I mean, there we go. The #1 guy for education on Twitter is on our show. I mean, what else do we want?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Right there, yes. Thank you, Brian, for all of that. We love that, man. That is for sure. Thank you for all the insights there and for the anchored VWAP information. How great was that anchored VWAP on that Ethereum and on that Bitcoin? I mean, thank you, Brian, for sharing that with us. All right, it's been a day, man. I mean, that Starbucks was quite the move. SMCI came out of nowhere. Just a quick check on Starbucks as we are flat on that. So I lose the bet, Neil lose the bet. Anybody who didn't say anything other than 1%, I guess, may wind up losing that bet. So thanks, Adair. I mean, that was pretty busy there.
Yeah.
People asking about Meta, but that would be Snapchat. So thank you.
Yeah, someone asked me about Reddit as well. And then someone else, shout out to Louis in the chat, pointing out that Reddit and Meta are likely Snap sympathy. I would say that is correct, but they snapping even further to the downside as this market-wide sell-off is brought by who else? SMCI, because why not?
Yeah, there it is. All right, Adara, because we always try to do this thing on topic, I know you and I have talked about this, so I sort of know your answer, but I don't know if the people know the answer to this either. But here we go. Okay, so this is your Starbucks order.
Oh, it is a grande matcha frappuccino, no whip, almond milk, 2 extra scoops of matcha.
All right, there it is. So I knew it would be something like that. I didn't know about all the extra details, but there it is, man. Yeah, exactly. So go there, support your Starbucks if you own the stock or don't. But Starbucks needs some help right now, flat in the after hours. Thank you so much, Adara, for staying late, obviously, as you're here every day. Thank you so much to Fabian as well. Thank you to our main man, Mr. Brian Shannon. Hope you travel well there. Get some, good food there, some good pie, pizza pie, not the Joe kind of pie,
Oh, yeah, because that's offensive, apparently.
In New York City. So, all right, thank you so much. We're back tomorrow at 8:30 where we'll be watching SMCI and the whole space and everything to do with earnings. Trump is speaking now as well, or maybe not. We'll join you tomorrow at 8:30. For Adara, I'm Sean. Ciao. Thank you.
Bye.